You gotta be ready, because we're gonna just
dive it in. Remember out the pod, Kev. Brought the pod with the good cord.
Nice. You should like sit down so I can see, because it's gonna be a tight camera.
Oh, the camera's fine. As long as the camera has battery.
It's gonna be a tight camera today.
Tight camera. Don't even open it. Have to. What, Ellie? Watch. Slide right in.
Slide.
If you use these, you know.
You know.
It's gross. But they're awesome.
Loading.
Hello? Do I not have sound? Why do I not have sound?
We have sound. Ooh. Hot. Hot.
Hey, we're here.
See?
We're here. Oh, sweet.
There you go.
Dude, that worked fucking flawlessly, Kevin. DGGGGG.
All right, so here we are.
We're back.
We're back. We're going to kill 90
In the
today.
basement.
At least 90.
At least. Minimum 90.
And we're, whoa! We're cracking some beers. I know. I know what you're all thinking.
I picked up the cable, and now I have 2 ears instead of 1. What the fuck?
I know what you're all thinking. What beers are we drinking?
I'm not drinking at all. I never drink anymore.
We're drinking. I'm drinking Prize Course Correct Citra Pale Ale right now.
I'm drinking Prize Classic Pilsner water version.
And I know what you're thinking.
Ooh.
What else do we have?
Lots of things. We're
got
trying to
some
kill 90
Mexican
here.
food.
We're trying to do the podcast while we do the day. That's
So-
the difference here on the Phony Express Show podcast. phonyexpressshow@gmail.com. Thank you for subscribing and listening today.
Wow, okay. So let's just hit the intro and let's get this thing.
Let's get this show on the road,
Go
man.
on.
You know, you could just have hypocrites here. You could do that.
The Express Show podcast.
These motherfuckers, but like the internet gets a hold of this, and I'm not blaming the people, like the cooks or the waitresses. It's not their fault. It's a raging alcoholic. Correct. Yeah. You know, it's just shit food. It's shit. It's shit. It's shit. Shit for 5 minutes. The intro would roll.
Phony Express Show podcast. Phony Express Show podcast.
This one was really good though. On the radio. I know it's the fucking best. That's what I'm talking about.
Phony Express Show podcast.
And here we are.
Blast off Space Force. Everyone loves it.
So we are here on a Sunday at 3:40.
340.
Our plans were to do a noon podcast.
Yeah, it didn't work.
And
So hot.
or also we were supposed to have a guest, Eugene, who's not here.
Does he listen to the podcast?
I have no idea, but he was going to come because we were going to break down Borat and UFC Khabib. But no worries, I can do the UFC thing, and Bob has seen Borat. So
I
we
did see
definitely
it.
Do some Borat
That's
stuff.
the Borat subsequent movie film. It's very good. It's very good. Very
Yeah.
funny.
And
Shout out to Mary and Chuck. They both watched it with me. We had a
Very
little
courageous.
family movie night.
that's very courageous.
And my dad loved the joke.
oh, your
You know,
dad probably.
My dad
it was
fucking
made for-
loved it.
Yeah, it was made for your dad.
So are you ready? So the best line in the whole movie, he literally
died.
he fell
Which
off
one?
his chair.
Which one?
Are you ready for the line?
Yeah.
This is the worst thing that could happen to any human being or
Or
Jew. He fucking dead.
Oh god!
Dude,
and
he
it's not because
Or
Tom's dad
Jew.
is nuts. It's not because Tom's dad's nuts. It's because that movie just
It's fucking also
over the line.
I want chocolate cake. What would you like to write on chocolate cake? Jews will not replace us.
yeah.
He fell off his chair on that one
There's
too.
a couple. Over the line.
Way
Borat was
way over the line.
Crazy. Do you just want to hop into Borat right now?
No, we're just
okay.
talking about it because I just saw it like 2
Right.
days ago.
So yeah, way over the line. And then UFC Khabib won and then retired yesterday. That's a big deal.
Khabib. I don't even know.
Khabib.
It's spelled with a K though.
Yeah, it's Khabib, but you say
I don't
Khabib.
know anything
It's Khabib.
about-
His name's Love.
Yeah,
but,
yeah, that's fine.
Nurmagomedov. Nurmagomedov.
Do you know how to
Nurmag-
say his last name?
I do. I'm just blanking right now in the moment of truth.
Habib.
Khabib. It's Khabib Nurmagomedov. That's what it is. And he, number one pound for pound fighter in the world, just retired.
29 years old, apparently.
And 29.
Apparently,
and
that's the time to retire. When
and
you're
he's 29 and 0. Well, he had. If you want to know the backstory, it's because his dad passed away. I know a lot of people don't gauge it, but this was his first fight with his dad gone, and he beat Justin Gaethje in the second round and choked him out. Who a lot of people were like, Khabib's losing to Justin Gaethje. We're fucking predicting it. First round knockout or knockout. Like Khabib's getting stopped. He looked bad in the weigh-ins. Blah 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 about he's emotional because of his dad, the corona, so he's in solitude in Russia. He can't be training in America at AKA because he's actually an American kickboxing
second round
guy.
KO.
Second round
That's-
choke. He choked him out in the second.
that's,
because when
quick.
I said I walked him in and I go, oh, poor Justin Gaethje, and my boys were like, Eugene, if he was here, he'd be like, oh my, they were yelling at me, and I'm like, guys, you just gotta understand, it's Khabib, and I've been going back and forth because I'm Gaethje's number one. That boy could have beat Khabib, and he was even out of respect, Khabib likes Justin. Justin's a good dude that Khabib was scared of from a character standpoint.
What's Gaethje's record?
Justin Gaethje he lost 2 losses. He has 2 losses against.
He's the same age, pretty close.
No, Gaethje's younger.
Okay.
20. He's got to be 27, 26, 26.
And he's just like an animal.
Yeah, he's an animal. He's the human highlight. That's his nickname. Jason the Highlight Gaethje. But Khabib, the Eagle Nurmagomedov said no because guess what? When it comes to fighting, Khabib will put you on the ground, and then he will it was so ridiculous. And I said, poor Gaethje, and they're like, what? It's just you can get a puncher's chance, and Gaethje did not have a puncher's chance. He had the ability to do some big damage on Khabib, but people do not give Khabib respect. The disrespect was ridiculous. Khabib, after getting hit a few times and then hitting Justin a few times, realized this kid's not Conor McGregor. He's not going to knock me out. I'm getting hit. It's not. He's not going
to take me down.
He
This
would-
is not going to be a KO fight.
This is not going to happen.
Yeah.
Khabib was like, oh, okay. And then in the second round, he's like, finishes him.
What are you bringing?
He put him in he got his back, but eventually he put him in a basic jiu-jitsu triangle and choked his ass out. And Gaethje tapped, and
that was it?
That was
That's
it.
not even that exciting.
it is when you're
That's
when
your
you know
last
what's
fight.
going on.
That's like your last fight.
Dude, it was very exciting. He choked him out. That's what you want. Khabib isn't a knockout guy. Khabib chokes people out.
He's not a one-punch slam?
No, he
down
doesn't punch.
ground?
He grabs you he grabs you. He brings this is why jiu-jitsu is so important. He grabs
Is
you.
this his specialty?
He's
It's
a wrestler.
Jiu-jitsu.
He's a Dagestan wrestler, which
Okay.
is different than wrestling anywhere else in the world. Side note, Iranians used to be really good at wrestling. If you look at Iran, there's a big sea, and then Dagestan's on the other side of Iran. He's on the most the western side of Russia. So here's Russia, Moscow, and then Dagestan's all the way over here, and then there's a sea, and then there's Iran. So it's a very Middle Eastern in the mountains, and they wrestle bears. Well, no, he wrestled a bear.
They wrestle bears.
Well, Khabib wrestled bears.
Okay.
Khabib has a
He
YouTube.
did.
He has a YouTube video of him submitting a bear, because his father got him
A bear.
Correct. That's Khabib.
That would get anybody
Khabib.
famous. That would get anybody famous.
Right, but he also has an undefeated record. So he comes in
You can wrestle a bear. You can wrestle
I
a
think
guy.
he's 13 and 0 in UFC. So I think he brought his he had a world. I think he was. I don't think it was Pride. I think it was Cage. I think it was Cage Wars. Maybe not. Maybe it was Pride or something like that. But he came in with the world fighting experience, and it was 13 and 0, and he just was the 13th. This was his, and his dad was a 30 and 0 fighter. His dad was a wrestler.
So he
before.
learned from the best.
Yes.
Okay.
And his
so
dad
that's
just
important.
and his dad just passed away.
That's important. Oh my God. So he's done. He's like, my dad can't watch me anymore. I'm done.
He beat Justin. He's like, I told my mom because his mom was like, what are you doing? I don't know because it's Khabib. You don't know. And he's like,
It's Khabib.
and he's Muslim, like very devout. So obviously, the majority of the world.
So he
is
doesn't like
Muslim.
violence if he's for real.
Right. He's very like, but you have to understand, people like they call him out. Like it's a big like they go after the man. And
Right,
he's the man.
right. He's not like, I want to fight you.
Right, he's like,
what the fuck are you
he's like,
saying over there?
I'm sorry, Justin. I will destroy
I
you.
will I will wreck you.
I will take you.
You will
I will
die.
take you down. I will choke you out.
29 and 0.
It's not anybody's fault but yourself. And he does. He took him down. He choked him out in a triangle choke
In the second round.
in the second round.
So it was
Very
like
basic.
an 8-minute fight.
Because what happened was like Justin like had a chance, but then they got to the ground and Justin could not get up. And Khabib, it's like
Do you
putting
think he wanted it to go down that way?
who?
Khabib.
Yeah,
He wanted to
said,
be
he
like
predicted.
a-
He said, "I'm going to choke him out."
In the second round.
Well, no, but I said third round.
You
Thomas
said-
is my
you
witness.
said third.
Yeah, if Eugene was here to back me up, he's probably Eugene.
But-
You said this is the UFC show. Doesn't matter.
The UFC show's awesome. I'm about this. I'm learning
Right, but
every time.
If Eugene was here, we'd have some backup.
Yeah, could we have some
But I said he's going to choke him out in the third
expertise,
round. And I was just like,
that's not.
And it's poor Justin. It's because at the end of the day, I was going back and forth, and I'm not trying to say that when I went to class because I did go to jiu-jitsu on Thursday
For the first time in how
like,
long?
Fucking like 5 weeks.
Damn.
No, like 4 weeks.
Shit.
But even Tim was just kind of like Tim's just like Khabib's just gonna destroy him, and I was just like when Tim said that, everything I was considering because I was considering Justin like because Justin is a wrestler and he's been training with these Boise State guys like he brought in all these top like athletes that are wrestling like D1 guys, coaches of D1 guys in America, right? And he's bringing them in because they got nothing
Guys
better to
that
do.
will compete.
Yeah, guys
on the world stage.
guys that are like wrestling like gurus, right?
Right.
And he gets them together during the pandemic because guys, it's not like they're doing anything. It's not like college athletics are going on. You know what I mean?
No.
I mean they are, but give me a break.
NCAA didn't start until October 20th.
Right. So these
Come on.
so he can pick some brains and he can he's got a good talent pool. I mean it's the UFC, you can train with people, right? But when Tim said that, it hit me like a ton of bricks because it's like Khabib's at such a level when it comes to like the wrestling. And I was giving Gaethje like a lot of respect for like, dude, because he was a D1 wrestler. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's been wrestling since he was 4. Like he's he came up wrestling. That's where his you could say junior amateur experience comes from, like him wrestling. And then he's like, okay, I'll try this MMA thing out. Right?
Who wrestles after college? Just pros, basically, right? You either make it or you fake it, right?
And go to the Olympics or you're done. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So if you're a D1 wrestler, you got a shot.
Yeah, John Jones, he goes MMA. He
Yeah.
was D2, but he could have been D1. He just got kicked out.
He just got kicked out.
No, he just had an issue with his
We don't need to
coach.
go into that deal.
John Jones is the man. But at the end of the day, Gaethje just didn't have that level where it's Khabib, and he brought him to the ground, and Khabib just is too smart, and I see
He just
it.
got beat.
It's like
He just
when
got
I
beat.
like okay, this is something that somebody I was listening to was talking about. It probably was Shab, because I mean I just listen to Shab all the time, especially when it comes to this shit.
Shab?
Brandon Schaub, he's a former UFC fighter. He's a comedian,
Okay.
but he's got a show.
Little background there.
Yeah, he's got a show I like listening to because he's just so wishy washy, which is great because he plays both sides. He like will tell you everything good about why Khabib's just going to destroy Gaethje, and then he'll be like, but Gaethje's could blink like he'll go down the whole list, right? So he really is good at putting the two. If you want a good MMA show,
he's not super biased.
yeah, below the belt, Brendan Schaub, he just kind of goes down the card and he'll just give you
This is why this could happen.
basically like this is what's going to happen.
I mean-
but this is what could not happen, and then this happens, right? So in the case of this is what the fight was supposed to be, right? It was going to be Khabib is going to destroy him, or Gaethje can stay on his feet and wear Khabib down until there's a knockout. Either maybe a quote unquote, and I don't like this, but lucky punch in like the first or later rounds that just catches him,
Like rounds 5 and 6.
right?
Maybe.
Or
How many rounds they go?
5 for this because it was the interim champion Justin Gaethje versus the lightweight champion Khabib.
What weight class do they wrestle?
155.
One
is lightweight.
Is that lightweight?
Yeah, it is a bad cut for
So
Khabib.
Khabib-
He walks around at like 168 probably, so he's got to drop 20 pounds to make it
Even
happen.
like make this fight even a thing?
This is all fighters though, which is really too bad.
I gotta piss a lot of times and not drink any water.
Yeah, They just sweat.
Yuck.
But that's besides the point, right? So and Khabib was also a little bigger than Gaethje, which people didn't really factor in. Because
He's a bigger guy.
well, what ended up happening was, so this is the two ways it was supposed to go, right? Either Khabib's going to dominate him on the ground and take the fight exactly where Khabib wants to, which is just what Khabib does, which is I'm just going to bring you into my world, which is jiu-jitsu, high-level jiu-jitsu where you can't really call it jiu-jitsu because all jiu-jitsu is
way past that.
is judo, and all judo is just a form of technique fighting, specifically like momentum technique fighting at a very base level. That's what judoka is. Jiu-jitsu is like a version of it's like a, let's say we have a song. Jiu-jitsu is like a lyric. Judo is like a lyric. They all go together in our judoka, like judokan, right? Like a martial arts structure. They're all together. You know what I mean?
So like you could
You
say,
don't-
you
you
could
don't
base
take
this
that
like
move.
on like karate and taekwondo and jiu-jitsu
and call it judo. Call it jiu-jitsu.
Okay.
Jiu-jitsu is what I would call it because people will gravitate toward that. Because if I say judo, they'll be like the Japanese throwing thing.
Is it
It's
the
like,
best one?
what?
Jiu-jitsu.
Uh,
Is there a
the-
reason you didn't like take karate classes?
Yeah, absolutely. Because karate's like punching and kicking like a target, and there's no real application for that in the real world. For example, when you look at law enforcement statistics, right? And this, I told Eugene before the fight, I said when Khabib wins, because he wants to do, he's like, should I do jiu-jitsu? And I'm like, yeah, you should come to my gym. Or there's plenty of gyms around. Or should I do like Thai kickboxing? Because a lot of people, they like to
Thai
work out.
kickboxing's cool.
Yeah, they think it's cool. Izzy Azasanya's a kickboxer. Like you need the kick, like and people get a workout kickboxing.
But you kick in jiu-jitsu too.
No, you don't.
No.
No,
No.
no kicking.
That's what I know.
Now in jujitsu, we
I'm
say,
telling you my expertise
listen.
level
In
here.
jujitsu, we say like we practice like, hey, you knee somebody in the head here, but we don't do that because that's not what we called our sport. That's not our sport. Give me my asada burrito.
One of these is steak and one of these is El Pastor. So
I
we're
would
gonna
like the
guess.
El Pastor.
And I kind of want the steak, so we just gotta. But they're not labeled.
Well, we'll just start, and we'll see what fate decides. But my point is that jujitsu fundamentally is just a ground game, okay? And in law enforcement statistics, 95% of street fights end up on the ground. So the person
of course,
so the person that
it's
knows
a street fight.
and if you watch it, animals like apes or bears wrestling or kids just kind of getting in a fight, it ends up on the ground. They're rolling around. Somebody kind of ends up in like a headlocky situation. This is just kind of like the way it's natural to fight. And that's why jiu-jitsu is just the ultimate self-defense technique.
Shout out to Andele Taqueria for supplying the food today. Sponsored
Yeah.
by, not sponsored.
No, we're definitely
I paid for
endorsed
this food.
by- We did. We 100% paid for Andele. Thanks, Bob.
No problem, man. These are dank.
We kind of need to figure out how we're gonna like.
No beans,
You have a nice-
extra cheese. In case you were wondering about the makeup of the burrito.
No beans, extra cheese.
Yep. On everything. Fuck beans, dude. You don't need to fart, and you need extra cheese and sour cream.
I like beans.
Not in a burrito. It takes away from the meat flavor.
I don't know. But yeah, so at the end of the day, Justin didn't really. Khabib stood up and traded punches with Justin. I was not impressed with Justin's striking.
You were not impressed with
No.
Justin's.
And at the end of the day, in the first round, there was a couple times where he got back up from Khabib. Like Khabib tried to take him down and he defended himself really well. But then
One bite, you're gonna.
he just
notice.
didn't. He just didn't do anything after that, and then Khabib just took him down. It was exactly what we expected.
This
Justin
one's
didn't know
Pastor.
what he was doing,
That
and
you
Khabib
have-
easily.
That one's steak.
And when I say easily, you want to try it?
Take a big bite out of it. Verified steak.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Nope, that one we got it right.
This is steak.
They're both red. Did I give your mother-in-law?
The El Pastor. That's an asada. She had the asada.
Doesn't
Whatever.
matter.
This is good.
They're all good. Everything's good. The only thing that matters is that Kelly got the vegetarian.
Agree. Do you have napkins?
No, it's a Mexican restaurant, Kevin. They don't give you anything you don't need. Seriously. Okay, so I have to ask for extra chips and extra sauce and extra everything. Because if you don't fucking tell these Mexican people that what you want, you don't get it because they're just so cheap. They just don't give you they don't give you nap.
Well, they're running a business that's
They're running
famous because of diners, drive-ins, and
yeah, but they're not. They're just people, right? And they're like, we're not going to provide you with napkins because you didn't take them from the deal and put them in the bag.
Right. What have you asked?
We're going to put your food in the bag, and you're going to take your food home, and you're going to assume that you have the shit at home.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going home. I'm going to a buddy's house to launch the world's most epic
But we have napkins.
podcast.
We have napkins, though.
Yeah, we do. But
It would be nice if they put some napkins. Like McDonald's puts napkins. But that's McDonald's.
every fast food joint in the history of fast food
Gives you
puts
napkins?
shit in the bag to help you eat the food. Not at Andele Taqueria. No way. We're not putting fucking shit in the bag, man. I had to ask him for the hot sauce. The red, look it. Okay. So normally, you get one red and one green. Okay? On camera here. I had to ask them for lots of green.
Ah.
I didn't mean for green. I just mean extra green.
So why'd you need a lot more?
I didn't. I asked for extra green, and they gave me 4. But the normal ration is 1, which I'm going to use.
I see.
I'm going to use it. I cannot stop talking about Borat at the subsequent movie film.
Man, it was so funny.
Fucking
and
A, dude.
genius. And like, no
Sacha
spoilers.
Baron
We gotta
Cohen's-
try to not spoil it, I guess.
We shouldn't. We should tell our viewers.
Because it's hard to watch. It just came out, so people haven't really delved yet.
Amazon Prime, it's free. If you pay for Prime, you pay for the movie.
Right. But
Subsequent movie film.
God, so funny. That girl is just.
She's actually kind of hot, too.
Well, what's funny is
They
that
hot her up a little bit.
that image of her when she comes out of the back, where she's got
God.
blood all over her face.
Yeah, I know.
See, that was burned in my head, and she was so hideous, like
She's
so hideous,
heinous.
and just the most
rabbit.
disgusting thing, like person creature I've ever seen. Right, and then the evolution of that character, where she like becomes the conservative reporter, and what blew my mind. These are the two things
Does it
that blew my
matter
mind.
that I didn't finish the movie?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Did you see the Rudy Giuliani part?
No.
Oh, okay. So that's not even
I
finished.
watched
yet.
an hour and 10 minutes of
Did you
it.
get to where he sings at the?
No, I went to
conservative
sleep
place?
because I was buzzed.
Did you get to the point where he sings at the conservative festival?
Yeah. Yeah.
So when they're like, "Are you Johnny Country?" and he's like, "You bet your ass I am."
Yeah.
Like the thing that amazed me was that he had a relationship with those people, and he ended up singing the song that those two guys wrote, like on stage at the conservative rally, and also that meanwhile, she was like quote unquote becoming a conservative reporter. So that means she had to write like fake stories and like, be like a fake news person, like on a YouTube channel, enough so that Rudy Giuliani would actually accept the interview with her. You know what I mean? So like that was like she was like beelining a whole side project while he was like living. And remember,
No, he
Corona.
was writing the movie.
But remember, no, Corona just happened. Like they're filming the movie and then Corona happened. So they rolled with that. Right?
They did.
Like
actually,
the genius.
yeah,
So you
yeah.
look at it and you're like, is that real? Is that fake? Like no, because those people's lives are real.
Mm-hmm.
Like those two guys, they lived with him during quarantine. They were like, you can live with us.
I love that, dude. That
yeah,
is
those dudes
so
are the best,
fucking
man.
funny.
Those dudes are the best, man.
So what's more dangerous, the virus or the Democrats? Definitely Democrats. Absolutely.
Hillary Clinton drinking the blood of the adrenal glands.
That's so fucking great. The QAnon, the whole QAnon movement, those guys are neck deep in that. The QAnon movement? Are you fucking kidding me? How dumb are you? We're definitely,
I don't know, 'cause-
definitely eating on air.
I mean,
We're pulling up.
I know what you're talking about,
The
but
common man. You don't know about the QAnon movement?
no, I do. I just mean like whenever there's real issues that unfortunately like aren't tackled in this world because they're very frustrating, like slavery and child trafficking.
Yeah.
You can
and like movie stars
Which is
sucking the
fucking
blood
real.
of young kids.
not the well.
It's not a thing.
Well, A, that's conjecture. And B, I'm just talking about the real-time shit when you, like, find a Jeffrey Epstein and it's like, that's real, right?
Right.
And
sure.
Yeah. And he was doing a lot of stuff that, like, now when you read some
Do
of
you
the
think
stuff,
Jeffrey
you might
Epstein
believe some
was
stuff.
sucking the bloods of kids?
I think he was framing, this is okay, I'm being very, very clear here. I think he was framing very top political figures from all over the world. The CIA was working with him and giving him all the assets to do that so he could blackmail and frame them on behalf of what I would think would be the United States government. But from what I know about the United States government, might just be let's call it a fraction of the quote unquote United States who may or may not have their own intentions in the Defense Department. And so when you blackmail all these people, like he had a painting of Bill Clinton in a dress, like in his office. Like how much more of like I have your balls, dude? Do you like, you know what I mean? And we're talking underage women and men, but mostly like who knows what happened to these children? And this is real. 100% real. It's just like, oh, he killed himself, and now the one person that knows everything is like hiding in Pennsylvania.
He didn't kill himself. He got killed.
Right.
That's obvious.
It is obvious, isn't it?
Duh.
But that's my point is when you say like, how dumb are these QAnon people?
He knew a lot of
But you're being ridiculous. You are being.
No, they are ridiculous.
No, you need to be sympathetic to people that care about things that are put in the dark and they can't do anything.
Guy?
No, I'm a person that has compassion, and when you learn
they're not. Movie stars aren't sucking the blood of children.
Hey, man. So you came out and you said Jeffrey Epstein, right? Didn't kill himself, right?
Obviously not.
Obviously not. So how conspiratorial are you? Because the mainstream news would call you a fucking crazy.
No, they wouldn't.
Yeah, they would. Mainstream news, they said he killed himself and they moved the fuck on.
Oh, no. That's obvious, though.
To who?
He
To
knew,
me?
He knew
to
too
who?
much.
No, to
He
to
knew
who?
too much.
To who? To who is it obvious to? Because if you listen to the
Even
narrative,
my folks, if they're voting for Biden, would say like, "Yeah, he didn't fucking."
But where does that lead then? Where does that lead then? So what does it do? Somebody that probably murdered a bunch of young women. Let's put it that way, secondhand, because he either gave them to or, contributed to their ruin. In any example you'd want to say, this mass murderer blackmail guy, just somehow disappears in prison when if he would be alive would probably talk and tell you about all these people, including people in the British royal family, people that are currently or formerly running for election in our country and abroad. And you know what? Let's just shrug our shoulders and say we don't really care. Yeah, that's something that a person that's listening to QAnon would be like, what world am I living in? I would understand why some people would reach outside of the general narrative to try to make an understanding of what's going on. And when they see ridiculous people say ridiculous things about stuff they have no ground in understanding, and they spend even, let's call it 5 hours, going down the rabbit hole, when they spend those 5 hours, they all of a sudden think they're an expert. And that's the problem is somebody will be like, oh, I watched a 30-second clip on the news. Hey, guess what? You're really less qualified than the person that spent 5 hours, albeit the information that they're receiving. You're still more qualified to have the fucking discussion. So if you're like, oh, I'm just going to write you off because blah, blah, blah. It's like, dude, everyone needs to be in the room. And guess what? The evidence has to be presented. And you have to be there like jury duty. Nobody likes jury duty? Well, guess what? The reason is because you have to sit there and you have to go through everything. You have to go through everything. And all of a sudden you start saying like, wow, this doesn't add up. This doesn't add up. I know they said he was crazy. I know they said Kanye's this, that, and the other thing. But when I listen to him for 3 hours, he's just kind of a creative guy that just doesn't have his thoughts all aligned. And at the end of the day, probably is a fucking good dude. And I wouldn't mind if that good dude just like, was doing his thing out there. And nobody should demonize him because they think they know better, for example.
Prize beer is fucking bad.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck who you are. If you know beer or you don't know beer.
No, I do like all the citrus stuff.
It's
like
fucking
all this,
terrible.
And the main squeeze is good.
This is a terrible
That's a
beer.
Pilsner.
But I have an alcoholic problem, so I'm going to fucking bang this entire can down. But
okay, not to joke, but I know what, before I said I know what all you guys are thinking. So Tom is definitely off the wagon.
Off the wagon. Way gone.
Which is why he's late today. And I just decided to...
No, there's another reason why I'm late today. But we can't disclose it on air.
No, but long story short...
I didn't sleep for a while last night. I couldn't get to bed. And I just don't know why. I just couldn't sleep. So
I'm worried about him, but we're just going to roll on.
No, we're not worried about me. I'm on the train. Let's fire this down. But Prize beer's bad. So Prize Pragmatic Classic Pils is a bad beer. I've had a lot of good beers, and I've had this beer, and this beer is bad. So the landlord might be a little salty, but he doesn't work for them anymore, I don't think. So He doesn't have to worry about it.
My beer is good, but they just
Your beer's bad.
They just
Your beer is made 5
cut
days
a lot of
after
people's
mine.
shifts, so we might be moving on from Prize as a sponsor. Unless they give some shifts back to the people.
Yeah. If they give some shifts back to the people, then we might pick them up again. But this
We might
beer's
encourage them on the podcast, but this might be the last time we talk about Prize on the Phone Express Show podcast.
at gmail.com.
No.
phonyexpressshow at gmail.
Yeah.
gmail.com.
Fucking at least once. At least once.
The phonyexpressshow at gmail.com. At least once an episode, I have to fucking make it wrong. That's going to be part of the bit. So I've been listening to a lot of Common and a lot of Paul Allen.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Because my shift changed from 1 o'clock to noon.
Ooh.
So as soon as I get in the car, it's Paul Allen every day instead of Common Man for 7 years. It's been the Common
Right.
every day.
Mm-hmm.
I literally fire up my ride, and it's just a click past the intro. Just like whatever they do for the intro, like
Yeah.
they roll their little
Yeah.
That's
Aaron Copeland.
Yeah, and then they put together like a little montage of like the week's shit.
You know that song's called "Ode to the Common Man."
Oh, really?
Yeah, by
Oh.
Aaron Copeland. That's why you just did many layers on the Common Man program.
Many layers, but now it's Paul Allen, the Paul Allen Project,
Yeah,
which is far less entertaining.
of course. No offense to him. What is he working with?
He's working with facts and figures.
Well, he's working with a terrible Vikings team. And a,
Oh, no, I'm not talking now. I'm talking about like all the time.
oh, yeah, I guess.
When he's not calling the games, it's just like not that great. I mean, he's got anyway, by the 11:15 hour, he's got callers on. He's trying to burn
Oh yeah.
the last like 50 minutes. He's
Burn
got to
it out.
kill it. Yeah. I mean, Paul Charchian's out of ammo.
Oh, so you hear Nardo rapping?
Yeah.
Isn't that garbage?
Yeah, dude, it's junk.
Shut up, Nardo.
Shut up. Quit. Get off the air, dude.
We know that's not your problem. We knew that. What happened was you're a songwriter, and PA gave you one assignment, you did good, and now you're cursed. You have to do it fucking all the time.
Every week.
Yeah.
Every week. I'd like
Wrap
work,
up the
like,
show.
I think like what, 3 times a week he does it?
I don't know, man.
It's bad. It's fucking bad. And this might be
Well,
our,
what I like
our
is
local
I
market
stopped-
shit. If you're out of market, you don't know the deal, but
It's okay.
most of our listeners are in market.
So I stopped listening to radio a lot, except for like Jazz 88. But
What?
Yeah.
What station you pop on?
I listen to use my podcast, my audiobooks now. Like when I'm on a book, it's just more interesting for me to like listen to my book because I'm like on that part than listening
Then
to
like
fucking the radio.
current events as far as
Yeah, fuck the current events.
fucking yeah. I
And
watch
every
the
time I
game. I
put-
know it's bad.
And every time I put on the fucking news or something, it's just political and there's like go vote and it's like sprites behind the voting campaigns and you got like
Sprite?
no, it's just like it looks like they're selling the voting thing. And what makes it gross is the fact that
You know who's behind voting, right?
what are you talking about?
Well,
Who's behind voting?
well, dude,
even
there's
even
only one
Borat
reason
has
why.
even Borat had like a heavy voting ending, which you missed.
I didn't watch it.
Yeah, so at the end there's a huge like emphasis
Like
on
go vote for Biden Harris.
yeah.
Because subsequent movie film is Donald Trump, Mike Pence, fuck show.
Basically. And it's just like, man, like as much as I understand that, like it's not it's not genuine. It's not, and a lot of people would be like, "Oh, you got to fight Trump with the fire," right? Like my whole thing is that like this is disgusting. Like the worst aspects, like let's call it like the sales model. You know, how do we break up all these groups to like get them as a demographic to like buy in? It's just so gross. It's a very like when I read Salt, Sugar, Fat.
How about the scene about women's rights?
Oh no! You have to understand. Borat is hilarious. Those people are very, very brave. And Sacha Baron Cohen, like what he does is this is not him like projecting his opinion on anybody. Okay,
This is just facts.
this is him going into situations and like
I know.
just
It's so
kind
good.
of poking a bear, and then reality happens, guys. You know what I mean? Like the two people, the QAnon folks, like they took him in and like cared for him during the pandemic. Like as funny
They're
as
not
that is,
bad
like
people.
no, exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. People want to like hang people from the rafters. Like, dude, those two dudes Like, have nothing better to do than to let Borat chill with them during the corona. Like, how sad is that? And at the same time, like, those are human beings, dude, living in America. Like, what are you going to do? Like, everyone has these big hearts until you put them in, like, the side of Venice Beach and say, like, what are you going to do with the homeless problem? Like, what the fuck are you going to do, man? Right? Like, these fucking people are like, oh, like, they think they know. And it's like, you guys are just in your fucking houses. You guys have no idea. You watch CNN, you pencil push, you're on your laptops working remotely. What does that even mean? Don't pretend like you actually work. You sit on a chat room writing emails. It's like you do AIM. And don't tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. I know what I'm talking about.
We invented AIM, you and I.
And I know how, like, the world works in terms of, like, communication. But, like, think about that. That, like, this is a beautiful statistic that I heard that you can all fact check me on. But it was that 30% of the workforce can work from remotely, right? So essential workers need to work, and they don't. And so the whole point was that the 30% of people that can work remotely were making 70% of the money, right? And then the essential workers.
I didn't know that fact.
Yes. So it was the essential workers who have to go to work. Like, they can't work remotely,
Yeah.
make 30% of the pie.
Yeah, like all the mechanics and the builders and the contractors.
Teachers,
and the people
things that are
people are
scale.
building the houses for the people that are working from, quote, home.
Right.
I know.
And this is another thing. So my dad just took a trip, private jet to the Bahamas because the company's going to, and he's retired, but he was there as a consultant because it's a big deal.
Your dad's not retired. He couldn't handle it, could he?
I don't
he
think
couldn't
so.
handle it,
I don't
could he?
think so.
He was sitting around making
know,
a
man.
Scotch whiskey, making dinner, and he's like, "Fuck, I can't not work."
I don't know, man.
Your mom's hanging out. She's still working.
Yeah. She's a personal trainer. The
Yeah,
club's a mile away.
Is she
you know?
going? Is she working remotely, Kevin?
No, you have to put it together because it's a gym. Like, it's not.
I know.
Yeah,
That's
I
the
gotcha,
point.
I gotcha. But this is my thing. So he's talking to me about. So they go down.
My mom's
there's
in
this
the air
guy,
again too.
There's this guy that's dropping 70 million. This thing should be like 400 million, but he's getting it at a steal because the kids don't want it. It's an island. It's got some fucking hotels on it.
It's an island.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
buying an island.
Yeah, this guy that brought in the company to, like, take a look at the assets because there's hotels and stuff. So that's what they're looking at is, like, the hotels and
So your
stuff.
dad's
right?
like checking out the financials.
He did. He went in and he just did basically like a valuation.
Yeah,
you
like,
know, you
hey,
go in and you value.
I know
it, you figure it out.
I know the shit.
He knows the shit.
I'm
so he goes in
gonna
and
I'm
he-
gonna tell you if this thing's worth a damn.
if he's gonna work it out. Yeah,
Yeah,
like what's
yeah.
gonna happen. You know.
Uh-huh.
And
I
long
love
story,
your dad for that.
yeah, but long story short, like, he's talking about this guy, and I'm listening to, like, this guy's a billionaire. He's at the end of his life.
Is he?
Yeah, and
He's
what
a billionaire, like
yeah,
with a
dude,
B.
he's 4.9 bill. I'm not gonna tell you who he is or what's going on. We can talk about that after the show. But the guy's the B, and he needs to diversify. You know what I mean? So anyway, he's taking a look, and he's like, hey, like this resort thing, because people like real estate, and they like hotels, and they like luxury experience. You know what I mean?
President.
And so, yeah, I mean, it's a great example. And if you look at, like, real estate, like what I realized and I talked about this on the podcast, when I went to this thing and I was looking at, because I work for hotels, and I was looking at this chairman, right? What I realized is he's just a guy that was in a real estate family. And after a while, like, yeah, the quote unquote boring real estate, that's like apartment buildings and like office space. But if you want to be like in glitzy real estate, like Trump, where your name can be on the side of a building and people will give you blowjobs because you're famous, right? Then you're in the hotel real estate. Right? Then you're in the resorts. Then it's just at the
Golf
same
courses.
Right. And it's the same greasy. I'm not trying to say greasy. I'm just saying it's business. And this is like that glitzy Hollywood side of business for the real estate community. So what I'm trying to say is this guy with the B, he's buying this island, you know, he wants to turn it around. And I'm thinking about myself like as an old man with like a B, with $1 billion or multiple billions of dollars, right? And I know, like, in my heart, like what I think I got some things, right? Like, I think about stuff. But I'm thinking, like, okay, this gentleman is like, okay, at the end of my life, like, he wants to give back, and that's what everyone thinks he's doing. He's buying this island. He wants to turn it, because it's kind of,
He wants to soup it up.
he wants to soup it up.
Yeah.
Right?
For sure.
And his goal is, like, he wants to make it a 6-star place.
Yeah, not even a 5-star. That's not
Right.
good enough.
It's not good enough. He wants to make it 6-star.
This is going to be the bomb.
And it makes sense, right? You're going to go in, you're going to make it a tourist industry, right? So the people are getting paid. People that come there are going to have the best experience. Like, it makes total sense, right?
Yeah, it's a Disneyland island.
And to me, it's just, I think, and I'm not trying to be weird here, it's just the most bullshit thing I've ever heard. Like literally bullshit.
Only rich people will be able to go.
That's my point, baby. And you'd say like, "Oh, we're taking care of the population." Like, no, damn well,
What?
you're right. No. Listen to me.
You're taking care of the people that live there. 'Cause
and
you're
the
gonna pay
people.
them.
Well, yeah, and the people that live there, it's their rules. So like, I'm not trying to say like, good luck getting it to 6-star, but you're not going to go into a community and try to tell them how to do their job, right?
Fuck no, you're gonna get
listen to me.
so much
Listen to me.
rejection.
That's also like a whole culture thing that let's give him his dream. Let's give him his dream and say he succeeds in a 6-star, like beautiful resort place. At the end of and I get it. You're trying to you want people to have these once in a lifetime experiences, right? That's your goal. You're like, hey, I'm going to provide like experiences.
You're not
going
to do it at my house, though.
Well, no, let's pretend it is.
If you live there, you're not going to do it at my house.
I hear you. You're missing the point. It's not about the people. Let's say the people like it. It's just like people in Alaska where they're like, hey, you should. And Pebble Mine, that's a different thing. Pebble Mine's bullshit. But like, there's other places where it's like logging. It's like, hey, we kind of need these jobs. So the people in Alaska, sometimes it's a double-edged sword. Like, there's a lot of environmental and conservatism, which is true, especially Pebble Mine. But then there's a lot of areas where it's like, hey, like we need jobs. We could
votes blue.
Right. Like, well, yeah, but I'm trying to say there's areas where they're like, hey, like we're going to take these natural resources because it can give us some jobs, and like we need to work. Like, we're not eating. You know what I mean? Like, this is how we live. Like, this is how our community runs.
You got to move.
No, what I'm trying to say is, in this island, like I'm not thinking the people don't want him there. That's not what I'm trying to say. If anything, they're like, this is great. He's going to put more money into the place. You know what I mean? But my whole point is like what you said. The purpose of this $4.9 billion guy
I'm terrible on camera.
is to like fucking build this like super high class resort for these theoretically elites, because who else is going to afford a 6-star place?
Nobody.
And I know that the cost of entry is high, and there's a lot of people that can afford the cost of entry. So I'm not trying to say it's like not going to be utilized. I'm just saying the mentality of this guy, who people are saying like, oh, he wants to break even, like he's gonna build up this island, like as if the island wants to be built up and become this guy's wet dream. And then I listened to, going back to the Kanye discussion, because I just think it's very poignant, because a lot of people are going to give him a lot of shit. But if you actually, and nobody does, this is my thing, everybody that says something bad about the Kanye West interview on Joe Rogan, did not listen to the 3 hours. I fucking promise you. Promise you they didn't listen to the 3 hours.
No way.
And I promise you they probably didn't even fucking listen to 30 minutes. Why? Because they don't have the fucking patience. Why? Because they're actually letting it come out of their mouth. People that say things can't fucking listen. Me excluded. Just kidding. My hypocrisy lives. That being said, Kanye, he was like, dude, I'm going to make schools, universities, and he just said that yesterday. So today's Sunday.
Is he on the ballot?
They said he couldn't get on the ballot, but then in the interview, he was like, I can get on the ballot. He didn't go into detail on that or anything like that. He just kind of said it. But from what
his people told him he can get on the ballot.
Okay, listen to me. When you say his people, do you know who his people are? You don't. So you just said something you have no idea.
No,
like,
I know.
I learned something.
I'm part of the retards.
Well, that's my. It's not an issue. It's just when you think you know something, it's like, who the fuck are you in a basement doing a fucking podcast, thinking like you can tell Kanye what to do? And this is why we send good vibes out in the universe, is because we got Kanye's back on this one. Because it doesn't matter.
Do we?
We do, because when you listen to the 3.5 hour conversation, it doesn't really fucking matter what we say. Because like what he said, he's like, I'm the most successful person I know. He's got to be.
Is he?
Oh yeah, he just turned around Gap. Gap stock went to 7.
He flipped the Gap.
He's $5 billion. He brought Gap out.
Flipped the Gap.
Yeah, he got Gap out of fucking debt, dude.
Gap is big.
Dude, Gap was bigger than ever because of him. And now, and this is my thing.
I did not know that.
Quote unquote crazy Kanye, who everyone's going nuts about. His whole
He's
thing.
a Trump supporter, isn't he?
No, he doesn't really support any party, and that's what he goes into. It's very complicated, man. Like most of us. Like, you're complicated. It's not
I'm an impossible individual.
Right? You're not going to go be like, oh, like 100% Biden and Kamala.
No, fuck no.
Harris
Absolutely
is a fucking cop.
Yeah, fuck Harris.
Dude. Talk about black people
fuck
in prison.
Harris.
With her name and her bloody red hands on them. Anyway, but like
we don't need to go.
Right, it's
you
complicated.
hold off the handle there, bud.
Right, and I'm not like a.
But I'm not voting for Pence either.
I know, man. Pence scares the shit out of me, dude. Like, are you
He's so
fucking kidding? The
conservative,
guy's like
it's
an
just
alien
insane.
time traveler. And guys, like, this is what I'm saying is like Kanye thinks outside the box. Where he's like, why the fuck are these guys like? Because they told him, like Oprah told him, like you can't. And he said something beautiful. He's like, I remember what Oprah said because it's fucking Oprah talking to me. And Oprah's like, oh, you can't. You have to bone up on your foreign policy. Like, there's no way, And he's like, what's so funny is like this foreign policy discussion, because even Joe Rogan was like, what? Let's talk about foreign policy.
Well, let's talk about it.
And so as people they're going to dismiss Kanye and say like, oh, like he's so unqualified. And I'm not trying to say he's qualified.
It's because he's a rapper,
president.
dude. It's
I
because
know.
he's a fucking rapper, man.
But he also turned around Gap. Like he's anything. And when this is my problem. Nobody's going to give him the 3 hours that like I
You
gave him,
can't get
'cause you have to be able to
famous
listen.
selling Cheetos and then think that you're qualified to run,
I-
Disneyland.
As ridiculous of an example as that is, I disagree with you. I think
You think so?
what was funny is this guy has more experience with ridiculous things. For example, he's traveled more than any of our current presidents. When he said that, I thought about it. I'm like, fuck, he actually, yeah.
Is that true?
Dude, his wife's Kim Kardashian. They travel around the world. When he said, oh, my wife got robbed, I was like, oh, yeah, Kim got robbed in Paris. Like, this is that guy. This guy, you know this guy, dude. So when people are like, oh, crazy Kanye, it's like, what? I got to slow down. This guy, like, went to war with the labels, is the most iconic, quote-unquote, rapper ever. You have to give it to him. His
No.
name's fucking Yeezus. And
What?
Yeezus, that's his whole thing. He said he was Black Jesus. He's always been known
that
for these
right there
crazy...
unqualifies you to lead the nation.
Okay, so you say that. But you haven't actually... So when he says these things, what does he mean? Remember, he's an
Black
artist.
Jesus.
Remember, he's an artist. What does he mean when he says these things? He said slavery is a choice.
Artists are crazy most
He
of the
said
time.
something like slavery is a choice. Yeah, but what's wrong with that? Like, what? Okay, I'm going to back it up.
We're leading a nation, Kevin.
Oh my God! What, do you want to be at war all the time? I'm not trying to say make
No,
Kanye for president. What I'm
no,
trying to say is,
no.
look at you go after just this dismissing. You're just dismissing this man's idea.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, which is just
100% ridiculous.
And meanwhile, the guy who I would say the 4.9B guy, who's super successful in the eyes of all these people.
He's a white racist.
No, it has nothing.
Probably.
To do. Well, I think
The
he was,
chances are high on that one.
Dude, I'm not trying to say anything. What I'm trying to say is that his goal is to build basically like what Trump is famous for. He wants to build this 6-star resort on this Bahamian Jamaican island, which
Let's
is right next.
enslave the people.
No, he just
The
his
Browns.
fuck you, man. His idea of success is like this jewel pearl hotel where all the fucking floors are sprinkly clean.
Okay, great, Kev.
That's not a good thing. You know what that is? That's death. Where's the Kanye?
That's
You know what Kanye
death?
wants to do? You know what Kanye wants to do? Just as a juxtaposition, he's talking about building like schools. He's talking about building like vertical gardens where at the university from A to Z, everything is self-sustainable. The things they put in the ground, and people said this is not going to work. They could only do it 60%.
No, because they're not familiar with it.
They're not familiar. with it.
This isn't going to work.
Right.
It's not. It's someone that fucking Jeff Bezos
Yes.
came to his first investor and
Yes.
said, "I want to sell books online."
what I'm talking
and
about.
they're like,
Fuck you.
They're like, you're ridiculous.
You're a
and he's
fucking
like,
fool.
He's like, no, I'm the
Okay.
richest man in the fucking world.
That's my boy.
21 years later,
You
I'm the
get it.
richest man in the
So
fucking
you get
world.
it.
Yeah,
And
of course
so
I get it.
So that's what Kanye was saying. He was saying like, but this is another thing he said because he brought Jeff Bezos up.
Yeah.
He was saying like the people that like have the
And Bezos is a dick.
Well, this is the thing. You need.
It's true.
I like what Kanye said when he said, "Dishonorable people honor money." And Kanye, the funny thing
Yeah,
is when
because Trump's a dick.
when he was
And
talking,
he'll
listen to me, bro.
cut,
Listen to me, bro.
enslave, and ruin, and cheat to get ahead.
So the weird thing that, okay, you're just talking about when I read the book Salt, Sugar, Fat. Every single company, every single CEO, and that starts in a Minnesota boardroom downtown where I work. So every single one of those
General
people,
Mills?
yeah, General Mills, Pillsbury, all that shit. We're talking Minneapolis, baby. Salt, Sugar, Fat. Every one of those food industry CEOs, all that, they were at war. And you're talking Trump's cuts, steals, blah blah blah.
Yeah,
Guess
yeah,
what?
they did too. They
hey,
did
hey,
too.
hey! This is going up to 2010, bitch. This is the American way under the table, and it's garbage. And we suck, and we have to look in the mirror. We didn't used to be this way. We used to build things. We used to innovate. Now it's who can suck the biggest dick or how high you can go with doing nothing. How many shoulders you can jump on top of, which is fucking ridiculous. And what Kanye's sitting here, he's saying like, I'm a visionary. I don't quote unquote, like, it's not like he's throwing away money. He's just realizing like, why aren't people working on this? Why are they trying to build 6-star resorts for people that are doing just fine? Why are we not trying to like, and I know he's crazy when he talks about God and blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, he's saying,
he's got some insane shit, dude.
well, hey, dude, your dad's a deacon. And listen to me.
We don't go to church, dude.
No, but if I would tell your dad, I'd say, hey, Kanye is a man of God. And whatever that means is whatever that means. But he's saying, the words out of Kanye's mouth is that he wants to serve the people. And his actions when he's building a school.
They speak louder than his words, Kev.
No. Maybe when you look at somebody who serves themselves, if you want to put Trump in that category, or if you want to put anybody in that category.
Absolutely, I would.
You
put
can
Trump.
see, if you want to put this 4.9 bill where it's like, where they say, what a philanthropist. He's buying this island.
What if
and
I
he's gonna
soup
he's
it
gonna
up for
develop
all
the
the
island.
people that are so rich?
I know.
It's fucking. That's
What
bad.
a
That's
great
bad.
dude.
That's
What a great dude.
No, he's not a good dude.
No. And you know what they say? They say, hey, he's diversifying. How
he
smart
could
is he?
build schools and roads.
Well, no, but guess what? He's going to take this $400 million asset, because remember, we valued it. But he's going to take the $400 million asset. He's going to buy it for a cool $70 million because the kids don't want it. So guess what? The kids don't want it. Their father was the one that owned it. It was his passion project.
They want to give it away. They want to cash out. They want to cash out.
Cash out, and they want to sit on their yacht till they die, because they have a fucking pointless life, probably, right? And like I'm trying to say, like, let's pretend you lived in a community where it wasn't like, oh, we work here so that we're, Maya Kunis and fucking Forgetting Sarah Marshall just working at the hotel so we can run away from our problems, maybe find a man, and then we get out of there and maybe find a real life for ourselves.
Right.
No, it's like, man, why don't we have like Kanye said, he's like, why aren't these models built like for the family? Why are they built like for the industry? And he makes these stupid artist points that people are like,
because they want to keep their wealth for their kids, probably.
Well, no, it goes
The
back to
kids
this.
don't have to do dick either.
Well, I had this conversation because I read this thing about these like billionaires and millionaires. They want to die broke. So like Elon Musk even had a thing where he started giving everything away because he realized that
he sold all of his houses.
Right, because people were like, Elon, you say all this shit about how you want to do good.
I listened to the entire
3
hours
we
of
talked
Joe
about that.
Rogan
Oh.
with Elon.
Well, yeah.
I listened to all of it.
So this is another thing when people are like,
He's a smart fucking dude.
I know, dude. But see, okay, so think about this. You had whatever grasp of Elon, but then you have
Took me 4 days of driving.
So sure, but then you have the time to listen to Elon, and then all of a sudden you have a pretty good understanding, at least in your mind, of like, I think I know this guy.
I know who this guy is. He doesn't give a fuck if Tesla's successful.
But so Kanye's all like,
doesn't.
think about if Elon was working on the 4th floor of 3M instead of saying fuck you guys and being who he is, right?
But he's not, because he's really smart, though.
Yeah, because he decided that these guys can go fuck themselves. Because
Yeah,
he's going to do
doesn't give a shit.
PayPal.
You know how much the new Tesla Model S costs?
35?
No.
Oh. Model S, so it's got to be fast.
No.
120.
He priced it.
Or like $666.
No, like a sexual innuendo.
Oh.
And with weed. It's like 42,069.
Interesting.
Yeah,
'Cause
because
that's
he
his
doesn't
style.
give a fuck.
And so
and the
Kanye-
car industry is like, oh my god, he did this, and then he's like,
I know.
he's like,
I don't care.
No.
And my point is like that. I'm not trying to encourage. I'm not trying to encourage what people would call.
I think it is.
I'm not trying to encourage what people would call like
69.
frivolous.
No, it's $69,420.
There you go.
That's
So it's-
exactly.
yeah, 69,
that's the starting
420.
price of the new Model S.
I love it. So
and
you
it's
can-
a lowered price.
Yeah.
He lowered for the first
For the
time in
meme.
history.
He lowered it
He
for the
lowered
meme.
the fucking price of a car. He's like, yeah, we were a little excited over there, and now we're just gonna lower it $3,000. What's at 72 right now? Why don't we make it 69,420? Fuck them.
And my point.
And
my
Jalopnik
point-
picked up the story instantly.
My point is that people will spend more time, and they do. They say they don't have time. They'll never give. They will respond to me, and they will interrupt me. They will shut me up. They will say you're not allowed to talk, and I would have an opinion
Because you're too stupid? What's the deal?
no for talking about this Kanye West interview. Okay, because it's because he's so polarizing that even
He
having,
is kind of nuts.
yeah.
Yeah.
So even having, and when you say nuts, you just mean like he's kind of different. When I listen to him, like he is different, but
Yeah, he's different.
me and him, we'd get the fuck along, dude. We'd get along real well because he's just a kid, just like me, just like fucking all of us. And sometimes kids say things and you're like, oh, he doesn't really get it. Yeah, because he's in imagination land.
He might.
But that's not a bad thing. No offense. If a 12-year-old ran the world, I don't think, and I'm not trying to be like,
They wouldn't
burning.
be fighting, that's for sure.
Yeah, they wouldn't be like, oh, you know what?
War.
I'm gonna sneak around your back and stab you. They'd be like, why would I like hurt you? You know?
Right.
So when he's talking about foreign policy, it's really funny because he's like, when I visit these like African, presidents and stuff, they say,
go places.
well, they just say that like Trump's really direct. Because this is America, right? So we kind of pick up our dick and drop it places.
Oh, dude.
Don't pretend
he's
like
putting it everywhere.
So if Biden gets elected, the only thing he's going to do is slowly put his dick down. It doesn't make a difference. We're America. We lift our dick and we drop it where we want. At least Trump, and I'm not trying to be at least anything, but like when he is direct, like when he's like, we're not doing this with China because the trade deal is blank, and when it's like, actually they kind of have our balls, he just goes to China and says like, guys, fuck you, and all of a sudden the Chinese are like, hey, Like, that's super disrespectful. You're right. It is super disrespectful. But he's not wrong. Was it, like, maybe a really Trump way to handle it? Yeah. You don't go to China and you say, like, fuck you, because they make everything. So you don't do that. But at the same time, was he telling the truth? I mean, we learned from the pandemic that China has our hand is up our asshole without China. We learned that from pandemic. And before the pandemic, Trump was saying, like, our assholes in
Pandemic's
our
a
ass.
hoax, Gav. Did you read the news?
Right, the pandemic's a hoax. It might as well be. God damn it, Anyway. I mean, how often am I seeing you? And we're doing fine. I'm not trying to say anything. I'm glad the world is closed. People are flying around.
I do know 5 people that have got COVID.
I'm not trying to...
And I know one of them that did just fucking totally die.
And how...
He didn't
Can
go
you describe this person?
Yeah. It's my uncle's neighbor.
Yeah.
Next door neighbor, 58 years old. He got the COVID, and he died in like 24 hours.
I don't want to...
Couldn't breathe, and he was at home alone. He just died.
How big is he?
Not big.
Really?
Skinny.
58.
Yep. It just matter. It's just a different thing. It's like the flu.
It's exactly like the flu.
But if my parents said heard me say that, my dad would tell me that I'm dumber than a box of potatoes.
But it is the flu. I don't understand what the difference is.
It's like
It's a respiratory disease.
If you watch MSNBC every day, Kev,
Oh, yeah.
then you know that it has long-term effects, and it could affect some of your organs.
And how did I know that? We've been here
apparently, it's science.
Apparently, we know it has long-term effects. Because we've been here for the long term.
Yeah, I know.
I'm with you. But
know.
then when you say to me, like...
I'm just telling you what I've
But then when you
heard
say
from
to me,
MSNBC.
But then when you say to me something like Kanye is not qualified because of blank...
Kanye is not qualified to
What
run
do you
the
base
nation.
that on? And the only reason I'm dying on this hill is because of what he
You're
said.
going to
and
die
why
on
it
this
made so
hill
much
because
sense.
the same reason why Trump is a shitty president. He's not qualified to run the office of America. He's not smart.
Okay.
Trump is not a smart person.
I'm not-
If anybody can fucking argue that with me, I'll go to bat. All right?
Trump is an old man.
He's
not
a
young-
dumb. He was dumb when he was born.
Dude, I'd love to put he's in rap songs, man. Like in the 90s, like dude, Trump
Yeah.
was like people loved that guy until he became president. And I'm not trying to be weird, but when he
People
was
love him as president.
Dude, when he was I'm not trying to
There's the biggest Trump flag ever on
listen
a
to me.
crane
Listen
in
to me.
Buffalo.
All these women, I'm not calling out women. I'm just trying to say all these
Calling
women
out females,
no.
motherfucker.
I'm just trying to say all these women that are like super like the thing they're saying is the misogyny, which is 100% correct. The problem is that rewind to Rosie O'Donnell.
Bob's the problem.
Shut up. Where were these women when Rosie O'Donnell was getting fucking harassed by Trump? They were laughing. I'm not these fucking white women that are all over Trump because
They don't like lesbians though.
Oh, where were they when Rosie O'Donnell was happening? And did
Trump-
anybody stand up and say, "Who is this man bashing this woman?"
No, they don't care.
They don't give a shit.
Trump fucks porn stars and nobody cares. He could say, "I fucked a porn star,"
Well,
and his supporters would
and
be
what I'm
like,
trying to say-
"Absolutely, that was the bomb."
well, and I'm trying to say
You
like,
cheated on your wife. That's cool.
dude,
All the hardcore
JFK,
Christian
MLK, everybody does.
What?
Dude, it's not like presidents don't cheat on their wives.
Martin Luther King.
It was a womanizer.
MLK.
Yeah, it was a womanizer. Yeah,
What?
big time. Yeah, and he wrote a great piece on how he thought that the Judeo-Christians used mushrooms as their first sacrament, which is quoted in the book that I told your dad to read, which he didn't read because
He didn't read it yet. It just came out.
Well, guess what? He's
He's
already
got a
late.
list of books to read, Kev. He's
This
a
one-
smart guy.
Okay, it already passed him by, man. He's going to be so, like, late on the cusp, man. He's going to be like, oh, my God, call Sarah on the phone,
What's
man.
the book called?
Immortal Key. The Immortal Key.
The Immortal Key. All right, I'm going to get him on this one.
Because this is my problem.
I'm going to get him on
This
this
is my
one.
thing. I think if we could fuse what Kanye was talking about with the Immortal Key, and we can start this, like, very pure... Because when you take mushrooms, you realize that, like, evil is not helpful.
No.
Fear is not helpful.
Neither
It just
is
doesn't-
puking.
Right, and it's just not helpful to have that. It's a weight, and when you have jealousy, when you have spite, when you have vengeance, when you have these things, deceit, they weigh it down. And so, what I would love is this kind of like community that's focused on innovating for the future, so that we're not running in a rat race and destroying our planet, right? Because we're not going to have a spaceship in a little bit. I know Elon's trying to get us to Mars.
We're not going to have it.
You don't think Earth?
Why?
I don't think Earth's good.
Space Force is bullshit.
I'm saying I think we're like an apple tree, right? And so Earth, we're like the Earth.
So far off topic
Bobby,
right now. We
Bobby,
are in the hole.
Bobby, there's Earth. You have a beer in your hand. I'm going to do my thing.
Yep.
We have Earth, right? And then we have Earthlings. We're the Earthlings, right?
Yes.
Like Alan Watts said, right? You look at aliens will drive by and they look at our solar system and they say like, oh, it's just a bunch of rocks.
It's just a bunch of rocks.
And they
That's all we
fly.
are.
They fly away and they come back 3 billion years later and they say, the bunch of rocks. They started peopling. They're fucking peopling now.
They're peopling.
What the fuck happened?
Well,
there?
we're really short term on human beings, though.
But think about
As
life.
far as, like,
so this is when Buddha sees. Let me give you a little enlightenment for all y'all that haven't been enlightened. I'm not trying to say I have. I'm saying this is what Buddha saw. He became Gadiva, looked in Buddha's eyes, and said, pardon me, Buddha Siddhartha as Buddha because he transcended. Gadiva looks into the now Buddha Siddhartha's eyes, and he sees all the fish in the sea, all the birds in the air, all the creatures of the world, blah 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 blah. What that's trying to say, not going into a morphic resonance discussion, but what that's trying to say is like you started.
I'm too stupid for that.
You man, you are part. It starts life. You're part of life. You're part of the
I
earth.
understand
You
that.
start with the single-celled organism, and then we go out from that. We think that the humans are the end. We think we're the perfection. That it started, and now we're here.
We're not, though.
No, we're the whole thing.
We're the middle.
We're the cheetah. We are the tree. We are the earth. And our death is when we stop that. But we could, let's talk, nature will always be here. Yeah. Like, what a silly joke would it be if you didn't know that you were, like, killing yourself? And then, like, the human race, let's say, like...
Are you saying that everybody on Earth got nuked? The sun would still come up tomorrow?
Absolutely. And what I'm trying to say is
that's
also,
insane.
how big of a joke would it be if our temporal existence and, like, let's, really engage with the fact that, like, let's say you have, like, a spirit and let's say it's involved with, like, the living world, right? How big of a joke would it be if, like, that like the life is really what we're all about? And then, like, we get terminated, and then all that's left is, like, the seed, which is beautiful. But now it's like, we have this wonderful world. We didn't need humans to, anyway. But now, look, like, we just stumped life. Like, now we have to, like, wait for life to develop again, almost. Like, it's like you're just bastardizing the beautiful complexion that made you. Right? There's this web of beautiful, let's call it history, this web of beautiful geological, biological, and spiritual history that came before you, right? And it includes everything from the birds in the skies to the reptiles to the single-celled organisms to the water of which you came from. You came out of the water. We're water apes. We were in the water for one period of time. Dolphins, they went back in the water. We weren't as smart as dolphins.
Wait. They went back in the water?
They're mammals.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So the mammals came on land,
And they do talk to each other.
and then they went back to the water.
And they have sex for pleasure.
Yeah. Whales, dolphins, us, we're all very interesting.
Dolphins are cooler than whales.
And so Isaac Asimov has a beautiful short story.
And they run around together.
They do. It's very interesting.
I've
what they
witnessed more dolphin action than most people have in their entire life.
do. Yeah, because you're a deep sea fisher. What do you
Yeah.
think about dolphins? No, this is
Dolphins
still
are
on the same.
fucking cool.
Yeah, and Tom, this is still on the same track
Yeah,
of our
yeah,
discussion. So think about you and a dolphin and
The
what
boat,
you could have in
the
common.
boat's going, right?
Right.
10 miles an hour.
Sure.
And we're cruising.
Sure.
And I'm on the side. And the dolphins come to the boat. And they jump together as friends.
Sure.
Like 50 of them.
Ooh,
together.
wow.
Oh, it's fucking sick.
50.
And they go like this. They go.
Sure. Sure.
They're fucking. They jump in synchrony. They just have fun, and you can
Yeah.
hear them like. They make the whatever little noise, and they have fun, and they cross paths, and they go around, and they're out there just having a blast.
They're doing something.
with the boat.
They're
They're
having
having
fun.
a game.
And I think
An
that's
entire
where,
dolphin pack, 50
Yeah.
to 100 of them,
Yeah.
and then they leave,
right.
and they go do something else.
Sure.
It's like, oh my god, dolphins! There's not ever one.
No, is
There's
there?
like
they're social,
40.
They're social.
They're
animals.
at least
just
40.
Like us. They're
Yes,
social animals.
they're having a party.
Versus
all the
sharks are
time.
different. No.
Dolphins are tits.
And what I'm trying to take away from that thing is there's I think an inherent playfulness with life, and I think we made a error of hubris. Hubris being like ego, being like we take ourselves way too seriously.
We do.
And I
do.
think what it could be is this. Okay, I'm not gonna get that's too much. But at the basic,
How deep down the
we
rabbit
have
hole?
to-
I mean, did you take the blue pill or the red pill today?
we have to respect the life and understand that there might be a more complex, thoughtful, intelligent mechanism behind the entire thing. And that could be what we would like to call God, or some sort. If you don't want to go,
We invented God.
If you don't want to go down that
We
path,
invented God.
But what if it was like, let's say, like the spirit, like because people think that
The soul.
yeah, what that thing that when you look at the dolphins, that they're having that playfulness, the thing that unites all living creatures, the thing that when you
The
hear
brain
like,
activity.
just this. Why is the galaxy?
I'm into science.
Why does the galaxy look very much like a brainstem? That microcosm, macrocosm, that fractal comparison. Why?
We're just one of many.
Though you want to go
exist.
multiverse? So I read.
Oh
some-
yeah, big time.
dude. But I read Sean Carroll's Something Deeply Hidden. That's why
We're
people-
a rock. We're a rock in the middle of fucking nothing.
So see, you are what we would call a materialist, and you just think it's all dead. That
No,
these
no,
rocks are
no,
dead.
no. There's other life out there.
No.
They're just
but-
like they're next door. We don't have the legs to walk to the next house.
Sure. Okay. I'm with you.
We don't
but
have the legs to walk to the next house.
I like
Check them out.
I like it. And they might not have the legs to walk to us. I
They
like
don't.
it.
They
Or
don't.
maybe it's dimensionally.
Or we'd have visited.
Yeah, it's dimensionally maybe even.
Sure.
Regardless of that, I'm trying to say that maybe there's something, because remember, space and time are just constructs of our design.
My brain hurts now. I'm just
trying
trying
to say
think
that
about
maybe
when I try to think about space.
everything
my
is
brain hurts.
connected, and the
Do you think
joke.
that's on purpose?
What?
Inventing our lives to when we think of too big of us that our brain starts to hurt.
Do you think that's on purpose?
Yeah. Like
Do you
we're
have
not
a
allowed
headache
we're
because
not we're not allowed to think about how big the world really is. The end of time. The end of time.
No, man. I think you just have to take psychedelics and you realize how easy that question is answered and what really is important.
How big is the world? The world. The thing that is everything.
I think
How big is it?
it's when day comes.
Is it to the end of fucking end?
Bob, this is what it is, right?
This makes my brain hurt. That's
Bob,
what I'm telling you.
It starts here, right? And it goes all the way around, right?
To where?
To this side. And then it starts setting and it goes away, right? And right when it goes away, something else is there.
What else is there?
Night. And it happens for 12 hours. And then all of a sudden this day comes back.
No.
No, I'm just telling you. It comes and it goes. And then what happens when it goes? Something else is there. And it's there for a while. And then all of a sudden you see this. The sky is always darkest before the dawn.
I'm wearing Rick and Morty socks for a reason today, Kevin.
Fuck yeah, I got my Crocs on.
Crocs on. Rick and Morty socks.
I'm just
Shout
trying
out
to say
Rick.
is that with Kanye, his intention, going back
I
to
think
this,
Rick and Morty's like
when
a
his
real
intention,
show.
when Kanye's intention is to like be a good person and try to
Kanye?
provide for the kids,
What is your
that's
obsession with
different
Kanye?
than the fact that like people will call this guy crazy and give him hate and give him negativity.
No, I
And on
never
the
call him
opposite,
crazy or
not,
hate
it doesn't matter on
negativity.
you. It doesn't really matter to
But
you
people out
because
there
people
do.
will, and you know it.
Yeah.
And
for
so,
sure.
because of this interview, because remember, it was a whole thing like, is Kanye going to go on Joe Rogan and talk about being president? Which he did. He said, I'm going to run in 2020. Like, he said these things. So people, they're going to lock on that and they're going to gravitate on that and they're not going to let it go. And it's like, wow, you're like a dog that. I love this. So the guy who invented the shopping mall, I just learned this from Kanye and I looked it up. So I forget his name, but he had a utopian society that he designed. But they said, oh, no, we don't want all that cool shit you did. We just want the shopping mall. So they just implemented the shopping mall. Even though he had this whole design of civilization. Epcot, Walt Disney World, Epcot
Center, yeah.
Epcot's designed based on his ideas.
On Kanye's ideas?
No, on the guy who invented the shopping mall. Falkenstein, maybe? I have to look at his name. But
Lots of stores in one place.
dude, Kanye dropped this on me. So the guy who invented the shopping mall, he had a utopian society design. Epcot is based on those designs. He had an idea of the world, okay? But
I'm with you.
industry says, no, we'll just take the shopping mall things. All that other stuff, the bigger thing,
We don't need any of
we
that.
don't care.
No.
And it's like, that's what actually matters, though, that bigger piece. And all you wanted was the piece that was going to make you money because dishonorable people honor money. And this is another thing he said, that we're in a world where people that are leaders, they serve themselves. And the reason they're a leader is because they stepped along people along the way. And the people that were good, they let somebody else go in front of them because they're good, right? That's the problem. And
They're good people.
yeah, but let's say you all of a sudden you're a leader for a different purpose. Like you have your shit together and now you don't care. Now let's say you're Elon, you're giving away shit. And I'm not trying to make anybody into saints here. But I'm saying is, what if all of a sudden you don't really care about getting ahead and somebody's looking at you saying, why don't you just take the money? And you're like, fuck you. And they're like, no. You don't understand. We can each make 20 million and just walk out the door. And he goes, no, I have a heart. like the young pope, like Jude Law and the young pope. And all of a sudden they're like,
I didn't get that show.
don't worry about it. And all of a sudden they're like, no, you can't do this because it's not the way. You're going to make the whole thing burn down. We're Kodak. We created the digital camera, and we're not going to release it because we have all this film to sell. Right? And then what happens to Kodak?
That was good.
Dude, that literally.
That was actually really a solid analogy.
You know where I got that? I got that from Kanye. Kanye said that.
Really?
The Kodak thing. And when he brings that
now
out, you're
Kodak's
like,
dead though.
almost dead. They're coming back, maybe. But the whole thing is, they came up with the digital camera. But they had all this film to sell. So they ended up, let's call it self-fulfilling prophecy.
When do you think they came up with the digital camera?
But at the end of the day, it
didn't come out until like 2004.
I know. And at the end of the day, it's why
They probably had it in 98. I bet you
Well-
they had it in 98. Oh yeah. Yeah, they had it in 98.
And if Elon didn't just kick rocks, we wouldn't really have like electric cars like we have today. If Elon didn't just, we would definitely, hey, check this out. We definitely wouldn't have the Porsche hybrid without
100%. We would not
have
have
the Porsche
electric.
hybrid. What about Porsche hybrid? Would you have the Porsche hybrid without
Fucking-
Elon Musk? The Porsche hybrid,
The
brand
Porsche-
new Porsche hybrid,
it's called-
would not
Kevin,
fucking exist.
It's called a Taycan,
and
it comes in a turbo version.
And?
That's fast as fuck.
do you think that would have ever been created in a million years if there wasn't pressure?
My good customer, the
Talk
vice
to me.
president of Polaris. The vice president of Polaris has two.
Would that car even in any dream of German engineering
No,
exist?
no, not
Without-
not without Elon.
Specifically,
Why would Porsche
Tesla.
put all this money to make sure they were the fastest shit on the street? If Elon wasn't like, look how cheap I can make some fast shit.
And it goes 0 to 60.
The Taycan turbo is like 2.6.
It has max torque at 0 RPMs. Porsche.
Duh.
You have to
It's-
change your engine because my cars will beat you off the line.
I know.
And
Crazy
he's a
face.
scientist?
Crazy face.
And he made PayPal.
You can't.
German engineers.
German
Hey,
engineers
hey,
are like, but the turbo.
Who's
the
qual-
turbo will make it fast.
Tom, who's qualified to run a electric car company? Definitely not this PayPal guy. He's just a tech guy. What does he know about cars? Shabam. All I'm saying is people
Bang.
look at things and they're just
that was a little light bulb bang for Bob.
it's
right
just
there.
like why would you talk to Kanye and give Kanye advice? Why would you talk to Elon and try to give Elon advice? No offense, I'm going to bring it to this level because I think it's very relevant. Why would you think you could give the president of the United States advice? And in this case, it would be Donald J. Trump. Do you think you have the quote unquote experience to give the president of the United States advice?
I think he's an idiot.
Now, let's say you're now and see this is why the whole country feels like, and this is what changed.
What he says is stupid.
I know, and you can't get away
Elon
from
Musk
that.
would never say half the shit.
No,
Elon
but
Musk is
Elon-
also
he's still-
not
he's
a
still making-
billionaire.
but-
A billionaire not voting for Donald J. Trump.
And he also makes jokes on Twitter, just like Trump, and he also gets in trouble for smoking weed on Joe Rogan's podcast. Where
Doesn't matter.
it doesn't matter
because fine.
Elon says because all of a sudden they're
Donald
like,
J. Trump doesn't even drink alcohol.
that's true. But what I'm trying to say is all this. See, people decided because of this. Because you're right, he's off the
I
cuff.
drink alcohol.
He acts it just like he acted his entire life. You know what I mean? But now he quote unquote represents you. And way back, we always said this
Yeah,
is
he
just
doesn't represent me.
well. This
Not
is
my president.
well, he is your president.
I
right?
know.
And so
I
this
like
is.
saying that,
I
though.
remember when he got elected, and people were not my president.
Move to
remember
Canada,
this shit.
motherfuckers.
I remember. So Dennis McKenna. Shout out to Dennis McKenna because Dennis McKenna.
Who's that guy?
He's Terrence McKenna's brother.
Who's that guy?
Terrence McKenna wrote Food of the Gods. He's the Stoned Ape Theory guy.
Kevin, I'm not a smart person.
Terrence McKenna.
You got to tell me this shit.
He's a.
I'm a regular events kind of guy. I work in Buffalo, Minnesota.
Terrence McKenna is very famous for being a psychedelic pioneer, endocrinologist.
Okay,
in
so he's
the
qualified.
50s
Smart
and
guy.
60s.
Smart guy.
Yeah, he came up with the stoned ape theory, which is basically that once the ice age ended and there was more because it was heavily rainforested areas, right? And then all of a sudden there'd be these plains areas that didn't happen. So the ice age happened, and then once the ice age rescinded, there are these plains areas, and because of that, there are these ungulates. We had these megafauna back when we had these megafauna in North America, and we're talking huge. And I don't want to get anything started. Everyone thinks everything came from Africa. I agree, everything came from Africa. But
A lot
I
of
think,
stuff did.
I
but-
think we were like Pangea style. I think it was like Africa, North America. Ice Age happened back. I think like a lot of
Do you
our
think
history
Africa was
erased.
always hot?
Dude, I'm talking like even back in the Pangea times. So we gotta. I mean, we're talking the whole world.
Well, I'm not a
shifts.
scientist, so I can't speak to any knowledge.
Man,
on
things
that.
move all around.
I do get.
The whole
get
whole planet's moving. It's a matter of time.
What I
It's a
do
matter
know
of
about
time.
science
It's a
is
matter of
that all the
time.
countries, if you put them together, they fit as one.
It's because all the faults connect.
Yeah,
because it's a
yeah.
big
They used to be one brick,
Well, no, it's a puzzle piece. The Earth is a puzzle piece, right? Everything has to connect.
and then
so they're all
they
perfect puzzle
separated,
pieces.
and now California will drown
Anyway, going to that
right
okay,
off of
so
America
so going back to the Donald J. Trump
because
thing,
they're Democrats.
everybody thinks that because of the way he is, because people don't think he represents them, right?
Not my president.
They think that they can do the job better. Okay, like if I was,
you know what,
Thomas,
that's a ridiculous statement, though.
right?
Not-
Don't you think so?
Sure.
Don't you think it's like really fucking egotistical and stupid to be like, this guy's a retard? If I was in his
I mean,
position,
he is a retard, but I couldn't do the job probably.
But like it's
I'm
so
not qualified,
stupid.
but I know I'm not qualified.
And so this is the thing. People are like, People are like, oh man, like he's not even qualified. How did he get that job? No offense. I've seen that in so many aspects of the world. And when it comes up in, let's call it women's rights, minority rights, everything, it all comes down to why the fuck does this person have this gig? And now it's at the top of our society. Where before, maybe it was only the black people that are like, who's that president? Like, who's Ronald
Only
Reagan?
the
What fuck
black
is he doing?
people?
I'm
Why
giving
is this a
examples.
race issue?
No. And you're so right. There shouldn't have to be that in front of it.
Absolutely not.
Let's call it like women who couldn't, when World War II ended, all of a sudden all these men are back and the women are told, like, you can't go to work anymore.
right.
Okay?
That's better.
And all of a sudden you have people making decisions, right? And no offense, but if I'm a working woman in post-World War II, not my president, man. Okay?
Not a chance.
They came back, all of a sudden these women, hey, you have to stay at home, you got to take care of the kids, you got to cook. I know you've been in the industry making B-52 bombers and even flying a couple of them because you were flying around. Guess what? The men, they're fighting. So who was flying the commercial planes?
We made the women
who
made
is-
the planes.
Fuck yeah. And who was driving the planes to get the parts to Pittsburgh? They were driving the trucks from California to Pittsburgh. Those are women too. You know? You think men? No, we were fighting. So guess what? You have all these women. You
What's that
mobilize
sign that
these
you see,
beautiful
the-
Betty. Rivet girl. Rivet Rosie.
Yeah.
Rivet
Badass bitch. That's
yeah,
fucking.
Rivet Rita Rosie.
I don't know, dude.
Rosie
You see
the
that
Riveter.
sign?
Rosie the Riveter.
Yeah, that's
And all
it.
I'm saying is that was America, dude. That's America women. And you know what they did after World War II?
American
they
women.
stuffed them in a cage, invented Valium, because guess what? These women were so bored at home that they said they had mania. They prescribed these women. They said, you guys are too crazy. Because they were like, we were kicking butt, and now you put us at home.
And then what do we do, Kevin?
We give them fucking
We made
Valium.
subsequent the movie film.
We make subsequent. But you know, it's
We
just
made
this,
subsequent
it's this
the movie
thing where
film.
all of a sudden there's this vitriol reaction to this gentleman. And it's like, you guys think, like this is the thing. If you have such a big opinion, you have to vote for the pothole people. Because when I drive down the goddamn street, right? Like the people that are the 17th on the ballot, because when you guys all go vote, you're not going to understand a few things. One of the things is when you vote in primaries, you can only vote Republican or only vote Democrat. So let's say you like a couple chairmans that are Republican, but you don't like the governor. You can't make that distinction. Okay? And most people don't know that because they've never fucking voted before. Because they're fucking just, they're going to get to the ballots and they're not going to realize that, they haven't registered in a party, right? Everyone's like, they didn't show up to vote for Bernie Sanders. Guess what? We couldn't, man, because our district didn't have them. Okay? Because they gerrymander all this shit. And all of a sudden people
gerrymandering is a bunch of garbage.
But in the general election, right? Let's talk about like the governor. You're voting for like Minnesota shit. That seventh guy, there's like 5 names. Those are the pothole people. Those are the people I'm interested in.
I told my mom this.
What?
I said, "Hey, did you vote for God, I can't fucking remember
What, like
who the
Lacey
fuck.
or something?
Doesn't matter.
Wellstone?
No,
Paul
no,
Wellstone?
no, 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 no. This is like now shit. And I was like the representative from Chaska, 15-year psychologist that is a smart guy and he's down for education and like regular fucking people.
So you know,
and I was
you
like,
knew a little something.
I was like,
you knew a little something.
Yeah. I was like, Mom, did you vote for that guy? And
How about your representative?
She goes, I don't know if I voted for him. There was like 8 people. There was like 8 people up for, and I'm like,
these are the people
like
that
what,
fucking
fucking
matter,
eight
man.
People. I was like, this is for fucking the House.
So this is
I was
how
like,
they
you didn't
trick
vote
people.
for a Republican, did you? And she's like, no, but I picked the guy on the top of the ticket. I was like, top of the ticket.
The same
it doesn't
guy,
matter.
Bob, the same guy who is not fixing the potholes.
Right.
He's the incumbent. And so this is the joke they play on you. And I have a whole stand-up routine on this,
Exactly.
so I'm just going to burn my stand-up routine because this is the whole thing. It's
Are
like
you
a
burning
test.
it, Kev?
Yeah, because this is my whole
The stand-up routine's solid.
No. This is
The
my
chest
this
hair
is part of the
joke
joke.
is unbelievable.
No, this joke is I've got this whole voting thing.
You got a
and
joke for me?
well, it's not a joke. This is my. I haven't really worked it out, but this is it. Is the whole pothole people? These are the people. Basically, when you go to vote, you're taking a test, and don't tell me anybody that aces that test. And the person that does ace that test, if you know him, he's annoying as fuck. Who wants to hang around about that guy that knows everything about all the issues? Oh, you shouldn't vote for him because he slept with his sister last year. Like the person that knows everything about everybody on that political ticket, you don't want to hang out with.
not
that
your
person.
friend.
Which, unfortunately, like we have to turn this process into something where you like the people on the ticket that are representing you. You like that guy. You're voting for that guy because you believe in
met
it.
that guy.
So all of a sudden, when you're going down the ballot and there's 5 names, you should see your fucking face. Because all of you know who you're going to vote for, Trump, Biden. And guess what? I don't fucking care. That's not who I'm interested in. The pothole people, right? That you're going to get to that
The
question. It's going to be at the
I love
bottom.
it.
There's going to be 5 fucking names. And you're just going to vote incumbent, just like your mom. The same guy
voted for
who
the
is
guy on the
not
top of the
fucking
Democratic
filling
side.
the pothole.
Democratic side, top of the
And
ticket.
then what happens? And maybe you're a contrarian. This is part of the thing. Maybe you're a contrarian and you're like, you know what? I'm not going to vote for the incumbent because the incumbent guy, like, obviously isn't doing a good job. So you vote for the other guy. But because you don't
but
really,
we don't have any potholes
Bob,
in Chin.
But Bob, but because you don't really know who the other guy is, you could be voting for some fringe. Like, who the fuck? Because you don't research this guy, right? Because you spend 90%.
You never
because,
fucking
'cause
90% of the time
not-
presidential research.
and literally just arguing with people. You spend 90% of your time arguing over these stupid issues that are so, and when I say stupid, I don't mean they're stupid because they're very personal. But I mean, like, you're not going to get anywhere moving that needle. The way people get along is we're neighbors, right? Maybe you're pro-life, maybe I'm pro-choice. Doesn't really matter. But we're on opposite ends of that fence. But we're neighbors. But what
you
do I
really
do?
should be pro-choice, though, because we don't want women to die off running downstairs.
No, of course not. But don't get me started on. I'm picking an issue.
Single-issue voters are
because
the
look
worst.
at you. Look at you.
I fucking hate
you.
single-issue voters.
But then you had to pick. You had to take what I said, and you had to pick a side, and
I
you had
did.
to and you
I
had to
did.
demonize the
I
other
did.
side.
I did.
Now, if we were neighbors, right?
We'd get along.
No, but you're not gonna go in your front yard when you're picking up the paper. He's picking up his paper, you're picking up your paper, and you'd be like, "Hey, faggot! Like you should do this because of this." You're not gonna say that because that's disrespectful. That's not how people get along. And at the end of the day, you're neighbors. Remember? So hey,
Even
I
if
have
he's
to-
gay and you don't agree with it, you're not going to say, hey, faggot.
because I live over here and you live over there, and at the end of the day, we have to get along. Right?
We should move all the House
Yeah.
Republicans
Oh,
and all
man.
the Democrats. They should have to live in the same neighborhood.
Well, what if it was like Big Brother? We can make a reality show
Oh,
where
that'd
we all
be
watch.
Fucking brilliant.
It's like, and then that's how they vote. Like we're all of a
Long
sudden they get,
Acres
they get on a,
becomes 100 senators
and we just
from
put a
50
yeah,
states.
and we just put a gym in there so they
Yeah.
can just get like ripped because
And
all
then-
they have to do is
and
like,
then, Kevin,
and then we can see all the
and then-
affairs, everyone banging each other, you know, all the dirty stuff, people getting drunk. Oh my God, you see who's
100
actually racist?
families, 20 snowblowers. Who's going to help who?
And basically, what I'm trying to say is when you remove the person from it, when all of a sudden it's me and you.
so good.
And I like what Tim Dillon said. He says, I have aunts that have never talked to each other for more than 10 minutes at a family reunion. And now they are talking to each other more than ever. And they're just arguing about stuff. And his joke is like, they've literally spent 10 minutes together talking at a family reunion. Like, we have family members that didn't even know they were related until this election came up. Right?
They love it.
And it's just this small thing of like, if you took a step back, maybe thought things were a little less serious, because at the end of the day, I mean, people will tell you that the stakes are so high, you know, vote for your life, this rhetoric, this brainwashy rhetoric.
You know what?
about-
Even if Donald Trump wins again, everything's going to stay the same.
well, everything's just gonna like things happen. Like we move into a direction, right? And this the worst thing that can happen is these rash moves, right? Is people getting the opinion that somebody else needs to be terminated, apprehended, or restricted in order for them to be righteous. like to get their way.
They got to get the guns.
Right, and that's what. And this is the thing.
Do you know what someone told me at work the other day? A Trump supporter. This is how dumb they are.
Well, so you're generalizing.
I'm gonna
and remember,
generalize.
these people that believe this is easy targets when all your freedoms are disappearing in front of your eyes.
He said, "I'm gonna get taxed $1,200 for every gun I own."
Oh, from Biden?
Yeah,
He might. Biden is raising taxes as much as he's like, if you make less than $400 a year, we're not raising your taxes.
Yeah.
You are such. I can't even start with that. It's like Bernie saying.
It's not.
Tom, it's like Bernie saying we're gonna
No,
we're gonna solve the student debt problem. It's like, hey, we're voting for Bernie because
that's a ridiculous claim.
No.
Yes, that is fucking ridiculous.
But my point is, we vote for Bernie because we like the idea, not because we
federal
think it's
income
gonna
tax
happen.
isn't going up if you make less than $400,000 a year. What's wrong with that?
You think that's going to actually happen?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Biden's going to tax the shit out of everybody just like everything else because guess what? It takes money to pay for this fucking stimulus. And you think he's just going to... You think the Democrats are going to let the homeless just go without a mouth to fill?
Whoa.
Who do you think you are in a post-pandemic world? You think they're going to come after fucking...
Oh, man.
Talk about people moving out of the country.
Do you think they're actually going to... Kevin.
Bob, who do you think pays... Who do you think pays for the homeless? It's called the middle class, B.
Kev, you're assuming that we need to pay for the stimulus.
Where does money come from?
China.
No, it comes...
Are you an idiot?
Are you an idiot? We're $3 trillion in debt.
Yeah, and we're going to make more debt. We're not going to pay for it. We're going to make more debt.
What do you think happens to the American dollar when that happens? What do you think happens to our country?
It goes down.
And we are still a country.
Kevin, we're not paying for anything that we've done in the last 20 years. Where you been? We didn't pay for the Iraq War. We didn't pay for the stimulus.
So
we didn't pay for anything.
What happens
We didn't pay for anything, Kev.
So what happens...
Kev, do you really think we paid for anything? Why were we balanced budget in 2000 and now we're 3.6 in debt?
So what do you think is going to happen?
What the fuck world do you live in?
What do you think is going to happen?
The American dollar is going to go down and all our kids owe $50,000 a pop.
So when
Jamie owes $50,000.
So when you look at your paycheck, right?
Yeah.
You're not paying for anything?
50% services are debt. 50% probably pays the bills of the senators. Why?
Okay, so...
What the fuck are you... What world do you live in?
So we pay for
what
everything.
What world do you live
Tom,
in?
all you're telling me is that we pay for everything.
We pay for the debt.
Yeah.
From the shit that we've done.
So who's going to pay for the stimulus?
Us! Yes.
Yes, you just fucking said!
Yeah.
So why are you yelling at me? Because clearly I'm right. He just said it. We pay... You think Biden's not going to raise taxes? Where do you think this money's going to come from?
He's not going to raise taxes on us.
Oh, my God.
I don't make $400,000 a year.
Silly boy.
He's going to raise taxes on the rich people.
This is just like Obama saying that he was going to pardon Edward Snowden. This is just like Obama saying that he was going to
by the way,
the Patriot Act.
Did you look at that case, by the way?
Oh, I read the... he's exalted.
He's going to come back. He's going to come back to America.
No, he's not. He's so scared if he's not going to. He's going to stay in Russia.
You think so?
Yeah, the thing that happened because nobody...
I thought he was good.
Well, too
His
bad.
lawyers cleared him and shit.
So this is... Okay, so I
Do you
listened...
think the minute he sets foot in America, they just fucking arrest him?
So I listened to the 3.5-hour Edward Snowden podcast. So
I did.
Guess what?
I did too.
Did you?
Yeah.
Good for you.
I
Do you
fucking
remember what he said?
I loved it.
So that was the second time he was on because remember he was on before.
I didn't listen to the first one.
Okay.
I listened to the recent one
Yeah,
last 90 days.
Because he was on the new
and
show.
he was talking
this is
about
on the
how
Jew
it's
show.
the case is almost complete.
Right.
And they're saying now they're rebuking what they said.
Exactly.
He's not a bad guy.
But the problem is that he knows that if he comes back, they're going to Julian Assange him. Because Julian Assange is on sex charges.
Is he?
Yeah. Just like, that's what Edward Snowden said in the interview. See, how much were you paying attention?
Well, I was driving.
Well, so give me some steam here.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
They're going to Julian Assange him. Julian Assange has all these conspiracy espionage charges, but he's on house arrest because of the sex allegations,
Right.
which are bullshit.
Probably, yes.
Pamela Anderson visits him to give him like info. I think she's like a secret agent for the good people, whatever that means. But like
She's a CIA sex agent, Pamela Anderson?
I think she
She's
might
hot.
have been coming to negotiate for the United States government, maybe. But at the end of the day, he was at the
She's
Ecuadorian embassy. I think Sweden because he got extradited or whatever.
Yeah.
But he got fucked for the sex charges. So
Right,
Edward
they're
Snowden,
holding those above all else.
So Ed is hanging out. He's safe. He's good. He did what...
Well, he's buddies with Putin, too.
Well, no. You don't understand. And he's not. He made that very clear. He is...
Well, he's in Russia,
he doesn't have...
he has to be.
Nope, he has no friends, basically what he said. He said he could have been fine shutting his mouth and making a good, decent government living for the rest of his life.
Where?
At the NSA?
Oh yeah, he was at the NSA. wasn't
Yeah. But he had to do the right thing. And he says, I don't want anything for myself. He wants amnesty for Chelsea Manning. He wants amnesty for Julian Assange. He wants amnesty for all these people that are whistleblowers who are currently in fucking jail. Why is Chelsea Manning in jail? Who used to be Bradley Manning, by the fucking way. What happens where all of a sudden you...
What?
Do you not remember Bradley Manning? Who became Chelsea Manning? Who came out with all the torture news with the United States government?
No,
because the news just buries this shit. See, this is my issue, and this is why none of you. This is why all of you deserve fucking Trump as president, and why you really should just go out to lunch, watch Netflix, and just die, and just fucking die. Because you don't know who fucking Chelsea Manning is.
Phony Express Show podcast.
Oh
Kevin.
yeah, and now that we're drinking, you're off the wagon. I'm off the fucking wagon.
Yeah.
You fucking kidding me? You don't know who Chelsea Manning is? He had a sex change. He's still in jail.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah, of course it was a long time ago. And people, the media, because I don't, and it's not like the media. It's like there's these people that own the narrative, and when you go against the narrative, like if you say like, hey, maybe Kanye's got some good ideas about maybe improving the welfare of children, and if he has his own land and is building his own project, who is anybody to say?
How much is he worth again?
$5 billion.
So he makes Trump look like a poor bitch.
Well, this is recent. He was like, I think he said 30 million in debt like 5 years ago, and then he flipped the Gap deal around.
He flipped the Gap deal.
So Kanye's whole
I gotta
thing.
look at this.
You do. It's actually pretty
business deal.
I had to kind of check some things out because it was pretty incredible what he said, but he just creates products, and he's right. Like think about his shoe line.
I know about the shoes.
You can't fuck with the Kardashians and Kanye. Kim Kardashian West, talk about people that like produce, you know? Like that sell shit. Like who are you to give Kanye West advice? This guy has more money than like he could start his own religion.
I didn't know Gap
basically.
was like going underwater, dude. I thought
it
it was,
was.
Like a solid company.
And all of a sudden you're like, oh, his friends, they're all yes people. He was going through his people. He had to bring guys from Nike over. They had a non-compete clause, so he had to get this guy who's currently the CEO of one of his places. He had to go surf for a year. Kanye's like, go surf for a year. And then now he's on his...
You gotta not do shit
because of non-compete. And then after that, Kanye brought him on the team.
Yeah, I know.
So let's pretend you have a madman with a good heart that all of a sudden says, like, I want the smartest people on my team. And I might be...
He does. He likes smart
let's
people.
pretend you're like a 13-year-old emperor king, but you have all the money and it's your way. And all of a sudden, all these people start getting together and they're like, well, like, we all get along. And he's got good instincts. Like, he's picking the right people. And as Kanye said, whenever I get all the information, I never...
Do you legitimately think Kanye would be a good president?
No, I legitimately think he has a good heart.
I have to ask you.
Tom, shut the fuck up and let me talk. I legitimately think he has a good heart, and that people are going to put all this shit on him for this interview, and they're going to not listen to any of the 3.5 hours, and they're going to take all this shit, and then it's going to show exactly what kind of person they are, because everything that comes out of their mouth, they're going to look in the mirror, and that's who they are. Because they have never seen it. They're just going to have these opinions about this black, amazing, successful
Which
person.
interview are you referring
The Joe
to?
Rogan one. The 3.5 hour Joe Rogan
Important to specify.
podcast. They're not going to watch a second of it, or they're going to get these clips on YouTube that are more than 2 minutes long.
They're probably cut.
And of course, and as Kanye jokes
They're
about
cut up.
Kanye jokes about that in the cast.
They're going to cut it up.
And it's hard to listen to because he goes on tangents for 20 minutes. And when I say goes on tangents,
Kanye does?
Yeah, he goes in 13 different directions. The problem is your boy Kev is the same way. So I get this guy. I really get this guy. And when I say that he has a good heart, it's not like I know the guy. It's that when I hear him talk, I look at the world and I say, wow, he's going to get all this flack from people, these haters, that aren't going to give any of the pure time. Like, if they were in the eyes of God, like, let's say we went into Judgment Day, like, let's be kind of, I know people might not believe in God, but let's pretend like you had to be judged legitimately. Like, let's pretend the truth
You're at the pearly
mattered.
gates. What happens?
Yeah, and all of a sudden you're like in front of
Do you
Kanye.
get in?
And all of a sudden, like, they show a picture of you, like, saying all this shit about Kanye, and they're like, but you didn't watch any of the, like, did you watch any of the thing? And how embarrassed are you? And you're like, no, I didn't watch any of it. And then somebody's like, then why are you talking? And then you just, like, realize, why am I talking? You know? Like, a lot of these...
Because I have an opinion, even if I don't know anything, Kevin.
Right.
I'm an American.
But that's poison. That's vitriol. So the juxtaposition I'm trying to put on there, is this $4.9 billion guy getting all this praise. Everyone wants to SSD and work with him because he's building the 6-star resort in the fucking Bahamas. So Kanye West is going to get all this hate. And by the way, Kanye, because we're talking, he's $5 billion. The other guy's $4.9 billion. So we're talking the same guy. I got one guy who everyone's S in his D. Like, I'm talking like
I can't believe Kanye is a billionaire.
Yeah, he's getting this guy I'm talking about that's building this fucking resort. He's getting this fucking respect. I'm not trying to say it's not a good idea or that he's not like improving an island
creating
or whatever.
jobs.
Yeah, I'm just trying to say like his goal is to like make a resort, like the best resort in the world. Like he's gonna die being like, I made a 6-star resort. Like, oh my God, how worthless. Versus like Kanye, who everyone's gonna give all this hate. Like, why should
That's
blah,
a
blah, blah.
stupid fucking plan.
Versus Kanye, who's like, I might want to build like a university that can sustain itself with like, let's pretend the pandemic was real.
If
Like,
you had $1 billion endowment, you could make a university that's going to last for 200 years.
I think so.
At least.
I think so. I think you could,
minimum.
I think you could do a lot of
And
good.
that's only one out of his 5 billion.
Man, and if you
What's
had-
wrong? Oh, I'm only worth 4 now. What'd you do? Oh, I created a university that's going to educate kids for free for 200 years. Oh, that's probably a good fucking use of your... You know what?
it's a good fucking use of your money and
Yeah,
time.
that's pretty cool.
Because you're working for the
That's
people.
pretty cool.
You're not sucking your own dick.
You can put a reverse osmosis system in every fucking household in Minneapolis. But what are you doing? You're buying
Yeah,
a new
but-
Lambo.
Yeah, because you want to.
I want a Lambo.
Because you want to diversify. Because you want to make sure that if the stock changes, even
You're
though
a Democrat.
even though you're
That's
79,
what you are.
Even though you're 79, okay, so you're funny because I do have.
Do you associate with a political party, Kev?
No, I don't. I think that
I don't either.
As
But-
Thomas Jefferson said, once you have a two-party system, democracy
It's
is
fuck.
dead.
It's dead, right?
Thomas Jefferson said, if America ever, because remember Thomas Jefferson, there wasn't two parties back when he was.
He was the third president of the United States.
correct, and back then,
Third?
they- yes,
Number
he was
3?
number 3. It was George, Thomas, and then,
And then
yes, and
No.
pardon me, John Adams was
John
number,
Adams
John
was in
Adams number
between,
2.
yeah.
Thomas
Yep.
is 3. Sorry,
we know history here on the Funny Express Show podcast.
I mean we are the Phony Express. Anyway, Thomas Jefferson said, America, if America ever went to a two-party system, democracy is dead. Quote, and what he means is, if you say, hey, you have two choices, that's not democracy. That's not.
It's not, is it?
Democracy is one person, one vote, which we still don't have. So everyone thinks we live in a democracy. Guess what? America is not a democracy. It's a democratic republic. And the electoral college thing is I'm not going to get into that because that's a whole other thing.
that's a whole other
But
podcast. man.
democracy means like the Athenian democracy. The reason that Athens is the reason that we look and then we build the fucking Lincoln Memorial to look like the Temple of Zeus, and we have an obelisk, and the fucking White House looks like it's a Greek thing. The reason we do that is because the Athenians created democracy when they were tripping on fucking shrooms and wine. And what they realized was that one vote, one person. And that was a very rebellious thing at the time because we had kings and we had everything on the way down. Athens realized, like, okay, we're going to give one person, one vote, right? And there was something beautiful about that John Locke and then through extension, Tom Jefferson and all these people, our forefathers, they said, hey, let's write a constitution so that nobody can ever come in and take our rights. The quote-unquote Democrats, they're coming in trying to take my rights. And I'm not trying to be all QAnon. I'm saying, and I'm not trying to say that Republicans are going to protect
QAnon
the
is
rights.
totally different.
I'm not trying to say
that's off the handle.
they have very specific things.
They're
and-
off the handle.
And the funny thing is, I've gone so conspiratorial that like all that's like the reptile thing,
Kevin,
guys.
was 9/11 played?
Guys, don't get me started.
Were we played?
But like the reptile thing, this whole QAnon thing, the reptile thing, like guys, that's like junior high. Like you guys want to talk about like Merkaba, fucking evil Mars temples in Egypt and shit, then you can talk to me about that. And I'm talking about like real conspiracy things. Like I'm talking about like like the history of the world kind of shit. Erase all that, because that complexity, that just what makes the world beautiful. Erase all that, because it doesn't fucking matter. Because the echoes of time and life are more powerful than what an individual person or blah, blah, blah thinks. This mythos, this ego, this idea that's permeating, that people like have stress and have fear and have all this shit, that poison. Once you realize that that's self-inflicted, that the reason you feel that way is the same reason why you didn't watch Kanye West's interview, but you still feel like, because for some reason you have something in you, you still feel like you have to react to it. That thing is what's weighing you down. And your sister would say that there is an ancient way to respect that part of your being and to get rid of that and to see things in a simpler way.
It's actually true. I think she does have a good...
She does. She knows about the simpler way. Now, a lot of people don't want to subscribe to that because it's not very quote-unquote glamorous. It's not a 6-star resort, right?
No, it's not. It's a 1-star resort. It's camping.
But you know what Kanye's trying to do?
It's fucking camping.
Kanye's trying to bring that into 6-star.
Kanye's trying to get camping.
He wants to do a full, so basically one of the buildings, he wants to make a vertical garden, which when I looked at these, one of these images in my head of like this beautiful world is this image where there's these skyscrapers, right? But these skyscrapers are covered in plants. Because the skyscraper, it's a vertical garden.
But you have shadow in there. That's a problem.
No, it's a vertical garden. So let's say the sun rises over here.
Yep.
The sun's on one side, and then the sun goes over here. Sun's the other side.
So you do have.
It's a vertical garden. And you can live in between the plants.
That's cool.
It is.
That's great. So he wants to make 6-star camping.
He wants to basically...
Everybody go camping.
This is the thing. He wants to... And I love this. He's such a child where he says, like, I want this to happen. And they're like, no.
Why doesn't he build it?
He's doing it right now.
He's actually going to build it.
He's doing
Where
it.
is it going to be built?
Well, give me a sec. He's already got the guy who... The president of Haiti. They gave him and the guy who started Uber... Or pardon me, Airbnb. The guy who started Airbnb. They gave him and Kanye, they gave him an island and said you can have this land to turn it into what you guys want to do. Kanye's got friends, guy. It's not like people just think they know things. And it's like, why do you think...
A lot of people think
Tom,
they know everything.
I know. And it's like, why do you think you know anything? When I was in the hospital with my kid, I was trying to tell this person, like, a pig is an old world animal. It was brought from Europe. The only reason we have hogs in America, like warthogs, like these hogs with tusks, the only reason any of that's in North America is because
We brought it here.
Yeah, and they're like, no, I think warthogs are wild. Like she was looking at me like I didn't know what I was talking about, and I was trying to tell her, I was like, no, like if you research it, the origin. Like it was the only reason we have pigs here.
Were you sitting and educating people in the waiting room at the hospital?
No. These were the nurses in the ICU, so I saw them a lot. So we just like eventually, you start talking about stuff, and then they were talking about pet pigs, and somebody said how they have a pet pig and stuff, and I was like, oh yeah, there's a lot of issues with that in Texas, because what happens is people will get a pet pig, they can't take care of it, and they'll let the pig in the wild.
Now you have wild hogs,
and now you have pigs that are running around
cities.
And I
don't mean Tim Allen on a motorcycle.
Right. And
I mean wild hog.
And what I mentioned was that it doesn't take long for those pigs to grow tusks when they're in the wild. And she was like, what? And I'm like, yeah, actually.
They do.
And
it's a real thing.
And she didn't believe me.
What?
Well, see, this is the
Does
problem.
she know anything about pigs?
No. But why would she?
Obviously not.
She looks at a piglet and she says, no, it's a mini pig. Like it's a toy pig. And I'm like, there's no such thing as a toy pig. And she's like, no, you don't understand. Like my friend had a pet pig and she had to, and I'm like, bitch, that's not the way it works. And you're trying to pull out science, but people think because she like works in a whatever.
She's way more qualified than you because she's an RN.
Right.
I know.
Right. And so I have to sit here and be like, we can Google it, but then Google. Oh,
yeah, I went to school for nursing, so I'm obviously more qualified than you are.
To tell me
hotel guy.
Right. And so then you just kind of shut your mouth and you say like, okay.
But
then you realize this is systemic.
You just agree to disagree.
Yeah.
You don't need to start a fight with the nurse of your baby.
So this is a perfect example of like the neighbor thing. Hey, me and her are there. I don't have to be right. The fact that she just lives in this world where like I hope she wakes up one day and says like, oh, that kid was right. But what does that do? I mean, I don't
do
care.
anything for you.
It doesn't. So
no.
So guess what? All these people that like have something to say that they're like, hey, maybe you shouldn't like maybe you should be sympathetic to the QAnon people because they have big hearts because the things that they're caring about is like children getting abducted, which is a real thing.
QAnon people are retards.
Bob, you have to be sympathetic to all people.
I can't do that one.
Okay, so this is my whole point.
I mean, I can do a lot of things. But
guess what? All homeless people are shit rats.
No, I don't believe that.
No?
Not in a million years.
Why? I had one come up to Thomas the other day, called him, hey, China man, give me a cigarette. And I dare you.
Who's Thomas?
Thomas is my guy that I watch UFC with. He's we work together at Hotel Ivy. He's the I'm not going to give. I can't give him.
The homeless guy said, "Hey, shit
so
rat,
he
give me
smokes,
a cigarette."
He smokes cigarettes. No, I'm going to call the homeless guy a shit rat. I'm going to be very clear, and I'm going to take a big stance here, and you guys can shut the fuck up because this is the truth. So Thomas, he's a good guy. I worked with him. He smokes cigarettes. A lot of people smoke cigs. I dare you to walk down Nicollet Mall smoking a cig these days. You're going to have 5 people come up to you, ask you for a cig. Hey, can I have a cig? Can I have a cig? Down Nicollet Mall? Walk down Nicollet Mall smoking a cig. I dare you. And you know how many people are going to come up and ask you for cigs?
How many?
Hey, can I bum a cig from you?
How many?
5. At least 5.
At least 5?
Anyway, so Thomas is walking. The guy comes up and Thomas is like, no. And he goes, hey, I can't breathe. Give me a cig. And Thomas is like, no. And he's like, hey, come on, China man. You brought the virus. Give me a cig. You know what I mean?
He said that
to
your
the shit
friend?
rat said that. Yeah. And what I'm trying to say is like,
whoa.
Hey,
very, very.
How many homeless people have you had a negative interaction with?
Almost 0.
Really? Well, you don't work downtown. So I've had a lot. I've also had a lot of good Like I also have a guy that I walk by every day that I talk to and I give him money. Like he waits. And I've seen other homeless people. Like there's a guy when I used to work at the other side of downtown. I saw him every single. There's a guy I currently see every single day. He's a quiet dude. I don't know how he never says a word. He stays in the same place, and he's like, it's like he's a fixture. because he gets it. He just leaves people alone. So obviously I'm being ridiculous.
Kevin,
I'm not trying to say all people
no,
are
no.
shitheads.
I'm just going to tell you something right now.
Yeah.
We had a homeless person take a cab out to Buffalo accidentally,
Sure.
and so she was stuck in town for like 3 days.
Oh, yeah.
It made the paper.
Sure. And how funny is that? That community.
It's not funny.
No. That community
The Buffalo
can't-
drummer wrote up a story on the homeless chick on the corner of Ryan Chevrolet and Buffalo Ford.
because
because
that's
it
not
doesn't
supposed to
fucking happen.
Yeah, exactly. But
Doesn't
guess what?
happen where
But
we
it's
are.
gonna happen. It's gonna start happening, just like Powderhorn Park, just like fucking
What do you mean
Cali.
Powderhorn Park?
You haven't seen the 510s in Powderhorn Park? Just about 3. There's in George Floyd zone. You haven't seen all the homeless in the George Floyd zone?
I did wheelies down George Floyd Avenue, and I didn't see any fucking homeless people.
You didn't see all those tents?
I did have one guy come up to me and ask me for money
You didn't have any of the
on
tents?
my motorcycle, and that kind of scared me. So I kind of told him I didn't have any money, and I didn't. I didn't have any cash on me. That's a real thing.
Yeah.
Or I probably would have given him 20.
And guys, I'm not trying to say like
I
'cause
did a
again,
wheelie.
Again,
I
all
was
people
out of there.
All people, and these are all kids ones, Bob. All these people are kids ones. You can't just be like all blanks are blanks, even though
No,
for
I
comedy-
never said that.
You said all QAnon people are stupid.
That's true.
See what I mean? And you're doing it for comedy because it is funny. But what I'm trying to say is you have
This
to
is
look
the
at
Phony Express Show podcast, and all QAnon people are stupid.
every progress starts with compassion. You have to give people something. If you just want to go to war, that's how you do it. You say fuck you, and you put your feet in the sand. If you trip on shrooms and see the bigger picture, you'd be like,
I
oh,
did, and I
we're
puked.
both wrong.
I puked.
No, you didn't do the hero's journey. If you actually
Acid was way better.
once you lose your fear of death because you realize that we're all one,
I don't have
you
fear of
start
death anymore, Kevin. I almost
realizing-
died.
You start realizing
I don't have fear
how
of death.
silly it is to argue.
I look at my hands and I say, I'm not scared of death.
Like fighting for the wrong reasons. Like all of a sudden you see things escalate. Like I have friends that fight all the time.
Fingers.
I have a surprise for you, and we'll end the show with it. I have such a surprise for you.
Cold fingers. I'm not scared of death anymore, Kev.
Oh, by the way, we're done.
Yeah, we're way done.
Yeah, we're done.
We're
Okay.
having fun. We're on bonus time.
We're on bonus
I call
time.
this recreational activities.
Well, we got to finish.
Do you
up
have
'cause-
something for me, Kev, on the Phony Express Show podcast?
I got it.
Gmail.com, by the way, guys. Facebook.com. Andele Taqueria sponsored today's episode with the best Mexican food we've had in a long time. We ate live on the
Yeah.
air. Kevin, take it away.
I got a little something for you this week. So I've got a little outro. I've prepared a little something.
Do ya?
Yeah.
Did you make some Cold Fingers song, Kev?
I didn't make it. I should have.
That would have been kind of funny because I did enjoy it.
But basically close. Oh, shit. Okay, I almost gave it away.
Almost gave it away.
Just wait for it. You have no idea. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Cold fingers. He's the man with the ice cold touch. A frozen touch. Such a cold finger beckons you to enter the Gold Gang pen, but they didn't let him in. All right, that's all I got. Yeah.
Just demonetizing us right there at the end there, Kev.
Well, it's karaoke, so I hope.
Cold finger.
Oh, let's see. Eugene says hangover all day. Just turned my phone on. Sorry, I forgot about it, brother. I have had that same experience.
Yeah, hangover all day. Khabib just got him just totally ripped last night.
Well, yeah. I mean, I didn't drink. I wasn't. Sober
You didn't
October.
drink last night?
No, I didn't drink when I was watching the fight. It was a 1 p.m. fight. They were all drinking, but I
1 p.m.
because it was in Abu Dhabi. So.
God, that's like a fucking day special.
Mm-hmm. All right, we're out.
We're out of here. phonyexpresshowpodcast@gmail.com. Follow us on Facebook. Give us a like. Let's ride.
And if you want to if you actually have the time, just watch anything on JRE and actually give it like 3 hours. Some people do. Some people
Give
have
it
before.
the 3.
But I dare you. If
You
can-
got the time.
If you can get through the Kanye thing, then you know what I'm going to say. Like then you'd get it because like it's hard to get through. But if you get through it, you get it.
It's hard to get through.
But everyone that's going to be saying things this week or in the future about Borat, about the Rudy Giuliani,
Subsequent
This
movie film.
this is what I wanted to say. I forgot this whole point. This is what I wanted to bring up. Everything that they're going to be saying about Rudy Giuliani, right? Because they're going to have all this shit to say about it. And you didn't even see that part. So you didn't even know what I'm talking about.
I'm gonna finish
all the
subsequent
shit,
movie film.
All the shit they're going to say about Rudy Giuliani is bullshit because they haven't seen the movie. Because if you see the movie, you understand that like Rudy gets put into a very interesting position by a girl who's like doing it on purpose. Like he's an old man. Unfortunately, he's like in a spot where the hot
He's
girl,
old sex movie guy.
Yeah, he's in a
old
very
sex. He likes boner.
He's getting abused. In
He
that
likes
situation.
boner. He has got the big hard dick.
So anybody that
all
has
the dick.
anybody that has these like strong opinions that won't just like kind of
Okay,
listen to
Kev,
you,
save it for next week.
we out.
We had